Very full show tonight. We're back. All hands on deck. Skaz is here. We got Trent, our intern. We're live on YouTube as well. Feel free to join us on the phone lines at 617-779-0985. Dan Lifshatz going to join us at 8 o'clock tonight. So we're going to do some bracket stuff, and I'm sure Dan's hot on everything. So we'll talk to him coming up in a little bit. Besides that, it's just us and you the rest of the way until 10 o'clock tonight. Opening take brought to you by ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Opening take brought to you by ESPN Bet Sportsbook. I didn't know where to start tonight. I'm hot on a few things. I'm hot on the Patriots. There's some things I want to get into coming up in a little bit. I do want to react to the Celtics last night and how Kristaps Porzingis has been, at least through the last couple of games, the best player on the court. But I also wanted to just talk about the Red Sox, who have made some moves in the last hour or so, and their opening day roster looks a little bit more clear. And that's where I wanted to start tonight with Rafael Devers will be the designated hitter. Something that some people said, hey, man, why can't you be a team player? You know, maybe they should move him off third base. I mean, you could just go look up the numbers. When it comes to third baseman, he makes the most errors. And Rafael Devers unlikely to play third before the end of spring training. This according to Alex Cora today. So, and the quote was interesting. So, can we say it out loud now, Cora? I'll say that whenever I have to say it. But right now, Breggy is playing third today and Rafi's DHing today. So, that's at least what he said about today. But we're not going to see Devers at third. The way I read that quote or heard the quote was Devers isn't ready to play third base. That Devers is still dealing with some off-season shoulder issues. I don't think he's ready to play third base. But is he not ready to play third base strictly because of the shoulder injuries? Or is it all right, well, I'll just get paid in DH then. Okay, yep. Like, has he kind of tuned it out now and said, okay, is this what you want from me? It is what's best for the team now. But is it what's best for the Red Sox in the future? I mean, we all know Bregman's a Gold Glove winner, a championship pedigree. He's really got a year-to-year deal with options. So making this move could hurt the team if Bregman happens to move on next season. I don't know. Maybe they got someone else ready to go, one of these big three. Who knows? But would Devers then be a third base option again if that's what happens? Like, I am looking towards the future a little bit, even though the season's a couple of weeks away. I want Bregman to be the third baseman. He's the best third baseman on the team. I'm also not opposed to Devers playing at third at times and Bregman playing at second. Me personally. But the fact that he's gotten no work, do I think he can still play third? Yeah. Do I think they really like Christian Campbell? Absolutely, with some of the moves that they made today, and I'll give you that in a second. But I did want to throw that out there. Bregman playing third right now is what's best for the team. Is it what's best for the future? Mentioned the championship pedigree for Bregman. Devers is also a player with a championship pedigree, right? We mentioned the shoulder injuries. He's had struggles at third. He's not when I say not the worst third baseman, statistically he's not great. But can he hold it down? He can play there. He certainly can play there, no doubt about it. But I feel that the big part of the team, he's a big part of the team, especially in the middle of the lineup. But could it be a problem for this team at some point this year? I think it can be. I hope Devers is just a guy who wants to hit, play, and win. That's what I hope he is. And he even said that. It might have been whistling past the graveyard, but he said it. There's a lot to look forward to when it comes to the Red Sox. The big three, the pitching staff should be better this year. Now the defense should be better, and there's playoff aspirations. I think Devers should embrace being the designated hitter. But you know how high-priced players are. They become selfish. And it doesn't always become about the team. We have seen it here. I'll give you Manny Ramirez. Now, the one guy that I'll point out was JD Martinez. Like, he said that he wanted to do it because of a routine thing. But it was what was best for him to just be the DH, and he embraced it as well. We know David Ortiz could at least handle the glove if it was a World Series or something like that, or interleague play. All I'm saying is there's a lot of things to monitor this year when it comes to the Red Sox. Health, defense, attitudes. This is why Alex Cora gets paid the big bucks, right? I don't think he's been the best in-game manager the last couple of years. It might have a lot to do with the team he's been given, certainly. But now you want to do in-game management on top of some of the egos? I hope he's the right guy for this. I really do. I think he can do it. But working with the young players, right? Managing the egos, talking to guys about taking days off, or wondering if the pitching staff, working the roster constantly and who's your 26. I know Cora can do it, but when you add big-time money, big-time egos, I know he did it in 18, but it does get harder. There's a lot of different directions being pulled. I don't know if Cora's the one that said in the end, Bregman's playing third. He is the one who said he would say it. I know the Red Sox haven't finalized their roster yet, but the more I just look at this team this year, there's a lot of expectations. A lot of expectations. But I also think there could be a lot of problems this year, and I think it starts with Rafael Devers. So we'll leave it there at 617-779-0985. The Red Sox, as I mentioned, made some roster moves today. I'll tell you what those were on the other side, and who's going to play second base. Who will be the closer of this team? We'll get into all that coming up. And also, Alex Bregman, in an interview, never really considered Boston until the final moments. We'll let you hear some of that audio as we're here until 10 o'clock tonight. Full show on board. We'll hear Skaz's thoughts. I'm Joe Murray. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere.
was going to ask you that. I was going to let Matt ask.
We thought we were going to be in Detroit the entire time, honestly. And then at the last second, Boston kind of came.
I follow all the social media people now, we're just everybody who's got an opinion these days. We got to start following them. That's the first time I have heard verbatim that he was going to Detroit. Alex Bregman was going to Detroit. What happened last minute? Was it John Henry and his cigar? Did he back up the Brinks truck? What happened last minute? Him and his entire family thought all offseason long that he was going to Detroit. Ends up in Boston. I'm telling you, I really hope that this is more than a one-year thing. The way he has helped the young players, the leadership that he has shown so far, and just, I don't know, he's held down third base since he's got there. Like, I really like the approach of Bregman. But here I am today, and Skaz might roll his eyes. It's hard to defend John Henry. It's hard. But when I heard that clip, he made him change. What will it do? You know how it's like, hey, what I got to sell you this car for to get you in the car today? What was it? Was it Henry? Was it, I don't know, Theo's involvement in there? Was it just money? Was it just money? Because that is easy. But when I heard that, the Red Sox weren't the number one option. The Cubs were the other option. But the Red Sox slid in. Was it the money, Skaz?
Yes, Joe. Obviously, it was the money. What else could it possibly be?
So, does John Henry get the credit?
Yeah, I mean, I think he absolutely deserves some of the credit. I mean, this is what fans have been asking for. This is what fans expect you to do when you're the Boston Red Sox. You pay for the best players that are available. You overpay sometimes for the best players available because that's what you should do as the Boston Red Sox. If he's going to get crushed for not spending money, we do have to give him credit when he does spend money. You could still say that, the rotation, doesn't look great. A lot of injuries, waiting to happen, some already happening within that rotation. I'm not sure about the back end of the bullpen either. I'm certainly not an Aroldis Chapman fan. I'm not sure how you could be. So I think there are still tons of question marks around this Red Sox team. But in terms of Alex Bregman, yeah, that was an absolute win for the Red Sox this offseason. And it was nothing other than them finally just ponying up the money. Alex Bregman wasn't changing his mind because he wanted to live in Boston instead of Detroit, or even Alex Cora for that matter. I'm not giving Alex Cora credit for this either. It's the money. It's always the money.
So it wasn't about that they wanted to upgrade at third base or get better defensively or the ground ball pitchers that they have on their team. It wasn't any of that?
No, I think that's absolutely part of it. I mean, they're not going to target, guys that don't fill, needs for them, but Bregman filled a need. They're awful defensively at third base. They needed another bat in that lineup, a veteran bat, and Bregman brings, all of those things.
I still think he can play second base if they want to. Like, I still think at some point, like, if Devers can play third, he will. But, Skaz, if you had to sign up your lineup card today, fill it out. Who plays second base for the Red Sox to start the season?
I want to see Campbell. I know there's mixed reporting is probably strong, but there's different reports out there about how ready he is. But I think it should be Campbell. I get the service time thing. I get not wanting to, waste service time and trying to save money down the road. I understand all that. But for the Red Sox to have their best roster on opening day, I think Christian Campbell should be at second base.
Yeah.
And Joe, just on the Devers thing.
Yeah.
Can he play third base? And I don't mean, I'm not, talking in jest when, last year he leads the league in errors, all that stuff. Right now, today, could Rafael Devers play third base?
Because we have a show to do today. Today, he can't play third base. Today.
Like physically, you're saying?
I think that he's still rehabbing. He hasn't thrown he has played there. He hasn't played a game there. But has he done drills at third, getting ground balls? Yes. Has he made throws to first base? No.
And isn't that a massive indictment on Rafael Devers if he's going to throw the temper tantrum, about the Bregman signing and bitch to the media and complain, and then we're March 19th and we haven't seen him play third base. If he wanted it to be a competition, he wants to prove people wrong, And look, I like Rafael Devers. He's a great player, but this whole thing that he was slighted by the Red Sox and, he's upset about it. If you're that upset, be a pro, be a professional. Go play third base. Show us that you can do it. It seems like he's kind of pouted during spring training, and now he's, in the outfield, behind the outfield, basically just doing hitting drills and a couple ground balls here and there. So for me, that kind of almost emboldens them even more with the Bregman signing, where was this guy even going to be ready to go if they didn't sign Bregman? Because either way, it's a bad look. If he was going to be ready to go if they didn't sign Bregman, why isn't he ready to go now?
Yeah, he almost looks like a tool for pouting.
Childish.
When he couldn't even play the position.
Absolutely.
So, therefore, we have our first no moral high ground of the Red Sox season. Devers, if anyone calls in and says that they slighted him, we will not have it is not allowed. Out! Devers slight conversations? Out! He wasn't ready to play the position and he pouted about it.
If he was a third baseman and wanted to be the third baseman, play third base. Battle for your spot, in spring training. Show us that you want to be a third baseman. He did none of that.
Imagine if he's like, hey, Bregman's going to be great. It could help my rehab, and I really think, it'd be really good for the team. Maybe we can get some young guys going. That's a leader, right? But when they asked him, hey, would you move off third base? And he legitimately says, no, no. Well, we could literally find what he said.
How about what he did, too? He left. He said, right. I'm gone.
He was here. Everybody was reporting. He went away for a couple of days. Cora even mentioned it. This is what I mean by Cora. Do I think he's handled it well? I do. There were people, media even, criticizing the Red Sox about their approach with Bregman. I brought this up I remember we did a thing one night about how just because it says in your contract or somebody agreed when you signed your contract doesn't mean that if someone told you that you're going to be the third baseman after signing the deal, doesn't mean you're always going to be the third baseman. And I'm trying to relate it to you all. You have all probably signed contracts, done things where later on they're like, hey, we're going to bring in someone else in to help you a little bit more. You ever heard that one before? You ever get that one? Hey, we just want to kind of ease your load a bit. Once that happens, you know what's next. Well, I'm sure Devers feels the same way. The previous general manager promised him something. That guy's gone. Cora said that. This is where I'm going back to the Cora conversation. He has a lot of things to handle this year. I think he can do it. The 18 team, though, I don't want to compare that because yes, Mookie Betts was probably going into the last full year of his contract, right? Who knows what was going to happen with the future of Chris Sale's contract, even though they extended him. It was stupid. There was a lot of things they did that year, but the mission for that team was to win a championship. The mission for this team is to be serious about winning games and playing better baseball. Devers was never ready to do those things. To Desgas's point, it is an indictment on Devers. He wasn't ready. And when Cora comes out today and says he's not playing third base, it's not because it's Cora's decision. It's because he can't. Your thoughts at 617-779-0985. Cuff is in Pawtucket. Hey, Cuff.
Hey, Joe Murray. I'm literally in the line at a liquor store right now, but I didn't know you guys were going to answer me, but I'm going to listen.
What are you getting tonight?
Hey, listen.
No. What are you getting at the liquor store first? What are you getting?
I'm getting a 6-pack of Budweiser.
Oh, you're a Bud Smarter guy, huh?
Yes, sir. But listen, hey, Rafael Devers is the better off DH. He is not the better off defensive third baseman like Alex Bregman. Bregman, could you imagine if we're in the playoffs and Devers flops a grounder to third base like he does all the time and gives up a run? We need Bregman there. Devers is an unbelievable bat. He's not a good third baseman.
Yeah, man. 6:30 Packy run, huh? Budweiser's.
Didn't sound like he needed to be in line, but
So Skaz, I got one for you here. I'm not much of a beer drinker anymore. I've drank a lot of beer in my life to the point where, like, once craft beers became cool, I was out. Like, you know how wine drinkers, like, they're like, oh, can you taste it? And they, like, move the glass and stuff like that. Like, that's how a lot of my craft beer friends are. So, but when it came to light beer, right? Because I've drank it all. Natty Light growing up, Bush Light. I've done the Red Dog. Trust me, man. St. Ides, Cobra 40s. I've done it. All right?
some Steel Reserves, Joe.
I've been to the bottom of the bottle. Let me tell you. But when it comes to the Budweiser or Bud Light, sorry, man. I can't do the heavy buds, the Bud Heavy. I don't want that Bud Mud. So for me, it was Bud Light all day, Skaz. That guy, he's a Bud Heavy. That guy's got mud Bud every morning. Bud Mud. We got to get the headline here. Hey, the Red Sox, we started the show with them, and guess what? They opened soon. But you know what we're going to do now? The Celtics. Red Sox is on the table. March Madness. Oh, and we got something for you. An exercise for everybody. We're doing a March Madness bracket, a night show. March Madness bracket. Myself, Skaz, Trent, Josh, the crew. Maybe we should get Street Team Joe in there at some point. But anyways, you guys can join too. And we have the link in our YouTube chat. So if you get into YouTube, Trent, Skaz, myself, we'll put in the links all night long. And you guys can join. And right now we have just under 50 people in there. So there are no prizes, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe if this thing gets interesting, maybe, I'll find you something like a CVS receipt coupon or something. I don't know. All right, let's hit the headline here. I'm Joe Murray, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
All right.
Torrey Craig, left-hand dribble, attacks the free throw line around Sharp, hands to Pritchard. He squares with too many big bodies in the paint, so he kicks out to Shireman for another three. Baylor Shireman had his career high here on the last homestand. Has given the Celtics their largest lead of the night. They're up by 4.
Brown and Jason Tatum. I know it's the Nets. There's not a lot to look forward to over the next 12 games or so. I think the most competitive team they play is Memphis, so I do want to get into that later because is it important for the team to get their rotation back together before the playoffs start? There hasn't been a lot of time. We'll get into that, but as far as last night goes, without Brown and Tatum, it was the first time all year that the Celtics played without both. Clearly, Kristaps Porzingis was the best player on the court. He's coming off back-to-back 20-point showings. He even said last night he's feeling a little better each day. He actually talked about how sick he was. Mentioned that he couldn't even get up to, get himself water or anything like that. But he missed 2 weeks. He had a mysterious viral illness. But he even said himself he definitely wants to log more minutes down the stretch to prepare for the playoffs. Now, I don't know if that's in the best interest of the team, but maybe I wouldn't play him on back-to-backs. That might be the way to limit it. He wants to play.
They basically never do anyways.
Yeah.
So.
But, to me, I want this guy ready to go for the playoffs. Has he been the best player of the last 3 games? I'd say yeah. I brought up the fourth quarters on Sunday that on Saturday night, Tatum did have a big basket. It was late in the game. People want to criticize. Sure, I shouldn't say the word criticize. People point out Tatum's the lack of scoring late in games, which I think if you look at the whole body of work, most of the time he's one of their biggest contributors late in games. So it's not a clutch conversation, but when I mentioned Saturday night he had 2 points in the fourth quarter, it's what people go to right away. But they miss that Porzingis had 14 points. So when I think of the Celtics, I think of them as a team, right? Whoever's going. Some nights, Jaylen Brown's the guy. It's just, that's what it is. Now, against Oklahoma City, he was not the guy. He was barbecue chicken defensively. Absolutely. I think we're seeing Porzingis healthy. I think we're starting to see the matchups that he can dominate. We're also seeing him do it without Brown and Tatum. So we are starting to see this the great player that Porzingis is. So for all the talk of can the Celtics win without Porzingis, I do think they can win without Porzingis. But I think Porzingis he's the difference maker. He's the guy with the matchup. He's the guy that helps Tatum. Him and Jaylen Brown have this great connection. The road will be tougher this year. My point on Porzingis is he's playing at an elite level. And I know he missed time. It's just now you have to balance it out. Do you want him ready to go and ramped up, or just have him come off ready way to go in the playoffs? And I don't know what the right strategy is for the team.
I think the unique thing with Porzingis, though, is we haven't seen him need a lot of ramping up. He comes back from these stretches, whether it be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month and a half, it doesn't matter. When he's back, when he's on the court, he's ready to go. In the finals, in the playoffs, every time he came back, he was an immediate impact guy, elite on both ends. So for me, it's not so much about him, knocking the rust off. We haven't really seen the rust with Porzingis. Every time he comes back, he's ready to go. And maybe the playoffs is a little bit of a different story because of the looks and the intensity. I get all that. But, Porzingis it's not like he's not used to this at this point. He knows exactly what it is. Yep. He's used to doing this by now.
Is it weird that it's just accepted in that locker room with him? Because I think everyone knows how important he is. It is accepted. Just to throw a couple other things out there, because we talked about this last night, so we're just kind of recapping. But Drew Holiday of late, there are conversations at times when people say, hey, when you defend the Celtics, sometimes they leave one guy open to make the shots. And, well, Holiday at times hasn't been that this year. He was dealing with the mallet finger, but since then, he's averaging almost 13 points a game. He's shooting 50% from the floor and 36% from three. So he's done all that since breaking his finger and coming back. But last night, his assists were big numbers. Even Horford didn't have a great shooting night. Did you see his he had 6 assists. It's like those guys are now playing the role, finding other guys. It's I think I heard Manick say it today, but the rest of the league thinks that the Celtics aren't showing their hand. Like, that's what the league thinks? Because every night, guys, we say that too, right? Don't we say, why is Missoula doing this? I think they really aren't showing what they can do, and the fact that we haven't seen them really healthy, I do think it's a bad thing for the rest of the league. So I know that the Oklahoma City Thunder are the favorites to win the championship. I would just say those are bad odds. If you can get the Celtics better than 230 to 250, to me, I think that's great value. So, anyways, Holiday, the last 2 games, 5 steals, 20 assists, 11 boards, 3 blocks. That's pretty good. Here's another thing. Baylor Shireman, he had a big night last night. We talked about where this guy came from. For those who watch college basketball, there's a lot of transferring now, the portal and all that. But Baylor Shireman was a standout at South Dakota State. Won the Summit League MVP, played in the tournament, transferred to Creighton, and was instantly their best player and one of the best players in the Big East. So Shireman isn't this guy that, I think most people knew who Peyton Pritchard was because of Oregon's success, making it to the tournament year in and year out. But the team was struggling last night. They needed to find some offense, and they went to Shireman, and he produced. Missoula said he likes his toughness. He does play with a chip on his shoulder. He had a career-high 15 points against the 76ers the other night. He's 24 years old. And I'm wondering if he's a little bit of a late bloomer because he struggled from 3 when he does play, but he's had double-digit games. Knowing that Tatum and Brown are on the bench probably helped him last night. I'm just wondering if he's another guy that could help them down the stretch run here while they're trying to rest other guys and develop for next year. So wanted to just throw that out there when it comes to him. He said he had a lot of fun last night and he played free. I like that he's a left-handed player, and I do think that he can do things off the dribble. The Celtics now have a 6-game road trip coming up, all on the West Coast. Friday night versus the Jazz. It's their longest road trip of the year. A couple of things just down the stretch for the Green. Jaylen Brown needs 9 more games to be eligible for any All-NBA awards. And Peyton Pritchard basically is locked up 6th man of the year unless Malik Beasley does something to go crazy down the finish line here. We'll get into what the Celtics should do as far as the rotation and all that coming up in a bit, but I wanted to just point out Porzingis has looked like the best player. Holiday and Horford are doing things like their role players that they have, and I'm not going to overrate what Baylor Shireman did last night. I just want to bring up the fact is that they struggled. They started slow, and they went to Shireman, and he delivered. For a rookie, I know he's 24 years old. I thought that was at least something encouraging for one of their first-round picks. And I don't want to do the Jordan Walsh versus Baylor Shireman thing. I think they can get more out of Shireman than Walsh. I'll leave it there. We'll get into more Celtics coming up as we're here until 10 o'clock tonight. The Patriots have missed out again. We'll do that coming up on the other side. I'm Joe Murray here in the Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
everybody that is just tuning in. We're doing a bracket for the night show. So you have to go to our... I tweeted it out, and I put it on I'm Joe Murray on Instagram if you want to join. But we threw it in our chat, so you guys, if you want to join... For those who don't understand our chat, if you go to YouTube, search 98.5 The Sports Hub, you can watch the show. You can watch the show as well, Fred and Friends. And you can chat, and there's like the regulars are in there. Brokerage Babe, Riz, Tom G, Russ Fox, Einbein, all those guys are in there. You know who you are. Prince Humperdinck, all those guys. Brian Griffin, Brother Bluto. It's the same guys, and I love that you all hang out every night. Brian Griffin's in there. I see you guys all in there. But if you want to just do a bracket and go up against us, there's no prizes. Who knows? Maybe there will be a prize. But let's have some fun. So feel free to do that, and we can, bust each other's chops. I wanted to get into just a couple of Patriots notes real quick. I see you guys lined up on the phone lines. David Andrews on his release on the latest Quick Snap podcast. They're trying to do what's best for the football team. You respect that as a player. Obviously, there were some things I thought I could do to help and provide value, but I understand their decision at some level. So, like I said, I did say this. I think I said it because I heard Zoe. I feel like Zoe was tipped off on it, but he wanted to come back and try it out. He failed his physical, and so they cut him. But I think he wanted to give it the old go, and they were like, nope, that's it.
So what was the reporting on the guy the Texans signed? Cam Robinson, is that his name?
Yeah.
What was the reporting that Patriots were out on him? It was.
Did you? I haven't actually seen anything on it.
It was character issues, I think they said.
They
said he didn't love football enough, that Doug Marrone had inside information. So they're out on that guy. What was David Andrews' rep around the Patriots?
Another captain on the team that they're getting rid of.
A guy that loved football, did everything right, said everything right, was a leader on and off the field. So David Andrews is out because he might be injured.
Because he was too good of a maybe they wanted to. I think it's the captain's guess, personally. I think they want to rid the captains. But to your point, did David Andrews deserve that?
My point is, do they want talented guys or do they want Vrabel guys that are company guys? Right now, I don't think they know, because they're telling us, we weren't in on Cam Robinson because Doug Marrone knows him, and he does. We're not sure he loves football. There's some character concerns there with his love for football. I don't think you could ever question David Andrews' love for football or his love for being, a New England Patriot. One of, the few bright spots over the last couple of years, a guy that you could count on to come to the podium first. And I know that that's, very small stuff, but that's the stuff they're selling us. They're selling us, the vibe and the locker room, and, they're changing that stuff. So, you're worried about Cam Robinson, but at the same time, you're letting go of David Andrews. That's sending mixed messaging to me. There's got to be more. More is going on there.
Yeah, I mean, they also passed on Cam Robinson last year at the trade deadline. They could have given up a late round pick for him and brought him in. But yeah, to your points, guys, like this whole offseason, it's been about the guys that they know and who they bring in, and Doug Marrone knows Cam Robinson. So, do you know what I think it was, guys? $14.5 million.
And there it is.
Like, we could have the discussion back and forth.
Absolutely.
I just got to leave it right there. For 1 year. I would never pay Cam Robinson. They don't have a left tackle.
Garrett Bradbury excites you?
So, to be honest with you, I think he's washed.
He's a good run blocker. According to everything I've read, he's one of the worst pass protectors in the league.
He's so undersized that he gets beat constantly by big defensive tackles. But I watched Kirk Cousins run. I watched a lot of Vikings games. When he didn't get beat on one-on-one rushes, he could throw the football. They struggled to run the ball a little bit too. Listen, Bradbury's probably got something left in the tank. But I don't think he's the long-term fix. Maybe this other Andrews has been there for a long time. I don't know what they think of. Is Cole Strange at center? I don't know. Fred Johnson, also another left tackle today, left the Eagles. And we asked Trent, who's our resident Eagle fan, This was what Trent gave for a scouting report on Fred Johnson. A really good depth piece for the Eagles. Came in and played like a good NFL starter, but needed to remember that he played for the best line in the league and had Jeff Stoutland as the O-line coach. He's now on a prove-it deal and need to see him succeed without all that. Philly will miss him, but he can play left and right tackle. That's Trent's scouting report on Fred Johnson. So, not only did Fred Johnson go for basically nothing, but Cam Robinson went to the Texans, who gave up Laramie Tunsil. And the Patriots are just letting two capable tackles go. Just capable. If you tell me that character or that he sucks, I won't hear it. I won't do it. Won't do it. Where's that Mike Singleton quote? What did he say? Not gonna do it. I can't have it. They're letting them all pass by. Why? What is the reason? It has to be the draft. I've been pumping up Travis Hunter, and they're going to just literally swerve me, and they're going to take Will Campbell or some sort of tackle. Because they're letting the left tackles go. Even the guys that can be starters, that might be fringe guys who can play left and right, who can actually start in the league. But they don't want those guys. They don't want guys that won championships either, right? Nope, not those guys. Like the Cam Robinson one, it's money. Don't give me anything else. It's money. He got $14 million. It's money. The Fred Johnson one, that's a perfect guy. Play left tackle. You draft a guy. He grooms him. Whenever Moses Moody finally gets hurt, you move him over. He's a swing guy. He's an unbalanced guy. He's the perfect guy. Doesn't get paid a lot. Prove it deal. It's stupid that they're just letting these guys move. But yes, know what people will say? They'll defend the Patriots. They'll say, oh, you're an expert, Joe. Oh, what do you guys know? What I know is they don't have a left tackle besides Vidarian Lowe. And if you're happy with that, that's on you. 617-779-0985. I apologize, but I am not sorry for that. Anyways, I read a mock draft today from Phil Perry, NBC Sports Boston, and on the Matthew Judon trade that happened and how it could help the Patriots. We'll do that next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
From the Town Fair Tire Studio.
Trying to keep the play alive. Falling down. He goes to the end zone. It's got it. Touchdown.
WBZFM at HD Boston. 98.5 The Sports Hub. A Beasley Media Group station.
Sports Hub headlines. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
All right, Patriots made a move today. They signed linebacker Jack Gibbons on a one-year deal. He had 167 tackles over 3 seasons in Tennessee. He's reuniting with Mike Vrabel. They did lose Cam Robinson today. He signed with the Houston Texans. It's a one-year deal worth $14.5 million. Fred Johnson was with Philly last year. He also is off the table. Just another left tackle, just, off. But, hey, more defense. More defense. Red Sox saw Marcelo Mayer at second base today. Vaughn Grissom sent to the minors. Headlines brought to you by Eastern Mass's leader in drain cleaning and pipelining. Drains by James. Slow drain, clog drain. You need to contact Drains by James today at drainsbyjames.com. I'm Joe Murray. Next update soon.
Start your day.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Work through your day.
What's that thing we do at the end of the show?
And end your day.
I'm not giving you an opinion. I don't know.
Right here. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
I love you too. In or out, we're going to bump it up a little bit tonight with Lifshatz in. We're going to do some bracket talk. I just threw something else in our Slack channel, Skaz, that I think we need to talk about in or out tonight. So we'll have that was sent by Bruins Luchador. So thank you, Bruins Luchador, for thinking of me. Just like, is that what happens now? Someone sees something and they just send it. Hey, what do you think? I mean, I like it. Let's do it. Let's take some calls. There's some things I wanted to get to regarding the Patriots. Let's talk to Chris. He's in Franklin. Hey, Chris.
Hey, how are you?
How are you?
You hear me?
I can hear you.
So, like the Patriots, I think that, or it's my feeling that we got lucky for 20 years. And the Crafts are still hoping to get lucky by buying these players that don't cost them a lot of money and bringing them on the roster, hoping they get lucky again. And I just don't think it's going to work. I think that train has already left the station.
Well, Chris, you know what it is?
Just my opinion.
Well, let's take the Crafts out of it for a second. It's the same thing as, Parcells or even Belichick for that matter. And now it's just defense. And when it comes to a premier position, they just won't pay for it.
Well, I mean, yes, that's true. But they also those other coaches didn't draft Brady. Had the Crafts not had Brady, if the team and the organization didn't have Brady, we wouldn't have had that run for 20 years.
You know what, Chris? That's a good take. At least Belichick drafted Brady. At least Parcells built the thing. Have they paid for premium talent at wide receiver or left tackle? Now, I mean, Nate Solder was paid. Vollmer got an extension, but were they the highest paid by any means? No. And they had Dante Scarnecchia at the time that could make anybody a tackle. But yeah, when it comes to actual premium talent, they haven't spent on it a really long time, unless you want to put Milton Williams into that category. I know that excited Trent, but I don't care about a defensive tackle. I just don't care. They already drafted a guy. It's not working out. They got a couple of guys on the defensive line they've already drafted. But now you got to spend there for it? Why? Because you need to shore up your defense because of the defensive-minded coach. Charlie's in Wilmington. Hey, Charlie.
Hey, Joey, how are you?
How you doing?
Good. Listen, so I'm thinking, I don't know about the actual draft or whatever they're trying to do, but do we know of maybe somebody in the backups, like a secondary, that's not playing for a team right now, or that is playing for a team but is like a backup that we can actually take and use as a tackle? Because I don't see the shorthands guy doing anything for us. And number 2 point, you're a beef guy. I don't know if you ever heard of Peter Super Beef in Revere. R.I.P. to the owner. He just passed away last week.
Oh, it's sad.
And I used to work for him. Used to work for him for many, many years. Stand-up guy. Love the guy. Love his family. So I want to shout out to them too.
Peter Super Beef, appreciate you, bro. Yeah, I've heard great things about that place years ago. North Shore Road, I remember. By the way, cheap plug, but myself and Big Jim Murray are going to be at the Kelly's Roast Beef in Saugus from 11 to 2 p.m. this Saturday, doing a live broadcast on the Las Vegas Strip of Saugus, Massachusetts. And Scaz, I know I've talked to you about triple dipping, but when I worked on the morning show, I would stop at one place to get a coffee, and then I would stop at another place to get my food. I then stopped at another place. So I have done the triple dog dare, the triple dip on Route 1 South into the radio station before. I think it was Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, Cane's. But, dude, I think of all the other options. Kowloon, Hooters, Kelly's. I mean, there's like so many. It really is the Strip. Do you guys have anything like this out in the Taunton, Bridgewater area?
I mean, we got 44. There's tons going on there.
44 out there?
Yeah, you got, Dunks galore and Wendy's and Taco Bell.
But have you ever double or triple dipped?
Joe, I can't condone those actions. I can't say that I've made more than one stop.
There's a Santarpio's in a Sonic parking lot, and I've done both. That's the double dip.
Now, Joe, is this strictly drive-through?
Nope, no.
You're getting out.
The event that we're doing?
No. I'm saying when you're dipping, Joe.
That's all drive-through.
I was gonna say. So I think that's kind of the crux. It has to be all drive-through. You can't be getting out and going into all these places.
Yep, you pull it. You order one. You get your food at the other. The Cane's, the triple dip, was on a whim. I saw
a whim or a whiff, Joe.
Yeah, whiff. Because I'm a smeller. You're a sniffer.
And a dipper.
And a dipper. And a smeller. And a whiff. Because I'm a smeller. 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 Because Justin, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Jay, I'm doing well. I just want to talk about Patriots. Did you see the game here last night, the first game? The one that was at the buzzer late last night. Did you see that?
I did. It was the Christian Leitner throw. Somehow it didn't work out, but it still went in.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And you will be down TV, right, Joe, on Thursday? I'm going to come down to see you.
Yeah, we're at Kelly's this Saturday. Then we're doing, and then we're at Sylvan Street Grill. Then we're at Game Time, and then we're at Sylvan Street Grill again. So I'll be all over the North Shore.
Yeah, I'm coming to see you on Thursday for opening day.
You're the man, buddy. Appreciate it. It is opening day, huh? Huh. Forgot about that. Oh, yeah. How did the Matthew Judon trade help the Patriots? Mike Vrabel said last week that there's still time to find the kinds of contributors they're looking for, including those that know that they need at receiver. His quote was, "We'll continue to look at wide receiver position as it relates to free agency. We'll explore every option with other teams and potential and blah, blah, blah." There's just a lot of time. And I know that everybody, it's like it's over in free agency. It's never over. So Vrabel's right when it comes to at least the NFL, and he's right about maybe some of the high-end options because it's dwindled. It's literally dwindled at left tackle right now. But for me, I've been saying this for weeks. It's risky to look at the draft. Very risky. They've had no luck. The team has no luck. But the latest mock draft, this from Phil Perry, NBC Sports Boston. He has the Patriots selecting Travis Hunter at 4. If the first free picks fall this way, the Patriots should have the stew on the decision. Hunter is one of the 2 blue-chip non-quarterbacks of the class. He mentions with Carlton Davis and Christian Gonzalez, he could take on a role in coverage in nickel and dime situations. Patriots could allow him to deploy his skills in a handful of snaps many ways on both sides of the ball. The Patriots can't afford to pass up one of the draft's most electric talents. I agree. So I mentioned that Matthew Judon trade that happened. Well, he has the Patriots moving up in the first round, trading away the pick that they got from Atlanta for Matthew Judon, and selecting Josh Connerly, offensive tackle from Oregon. And in this scenario, the Patriots, again, they trade 38 and 77 and a future 5th-round pick. But the Patriots can identify their left tackle there, and it gets them out of the Will Campbell issue. The kid from Oregon, I will tell you, he's been good. Sewell was one of those guys that came up years before. I think there is some lineage. And the other thing, too, is I think Josh McDaniels loves these type of tackles. So there's only a few true caliber first-round tackles. Maybe you trade up in the first to get one. I like the move. With this pick, the Patriots would finish off the night with their future left tackle and future playmaker at receiver. I'm in. Shane is in Rhode Island. What's up, buddy?
Hi, Joseph. Hi, Skaz.
Hey.
First, and hi, chat. You gonna talk about this Scotty Scheffler menu?
Oh, we're gonna get into that, buddy. What's your favorite?
I've been dying to talk about it all day since you tweeted out. I'm like, wow, this needs to be talked about.
I think it's a spectacular spread.
I agree with you.
I
think that's all I had to say. I'll keep talking to you if you want.
No, I was gonna say, what do you think the Scotty sauce is?
I'm not gonna say that. You baiting me?
No. Skaz, you see that menu? Maybe we'll recap that later. Danny's in Dunstable. yeah. Save your comment on that one, Skaz. What's up, Danny?
Joe, just want to say long-time listener, first-time caller for your show, but it's my favorite show on the Sports Hub. So I got a Pats take. You know, I listen in a lot of these different shows, people calling in, and everyone's saying, like, oh, the Pats are whiffing, or, like, you know, Pats aren't getting the right guys in free agency. They're failing, this and that. I mean, think of how many close games there were last year where if we had a defense to hold us in the game, what, Drake May could have done. I know there was some, end of game drives that he failed in, but just imagine if we had a little bit better defense, some of those games would swing over.
Are you one of these guys who thinks that the coaching staff can fix the issues from last year?
Absolutely, especially on the defense.
So you think the upgrades they made in free agency will instantly make them better and win more games?
I think the defense is bolstered enough to where you can swing some of those close games and improve the record, and then you attract better free agents next year.
Okay. I don't feel that way, guys. I'm not saying I don't approve of the moves on defense. I think they're better. I do. I think they're better. We had a question off the air, Skaz. You asked me this. You can feel free to ask me. Ask me! You asked me what?
Other than cornerback, what is the Patriots' best position group?
My answer was tight end. And I'm not proud of that.
What about after that, Joe? It gets pretty thin.
It's not safety. It's not D-line. It's not linebacker. It's not the line. It's not the running back group. It's not the receiver group.
It's not the quarterback.
Could it be the quarterback?
Maybe, but right now it's not.
What is number 2? I have tight ends. That's all I got.
I think that just speaks to the lack of top-end talent on the roster. And do all great teams build through the draft? And you gotta draft players. That's how you rebuild franchises from the ground up. I get all that, but you don't have any top-end talent right now. So, if your top-end talent's going to be 21, 22 years old, fine, but that's not going to immediately... I mean, Will Campbell might help you next. I know some people don't think Will Campbell's going to help you at all if they take him at 4, but they just lack that top-end talent. Christian Gonzalez, Carlton Davis, your defensive line, one big signing, but outside of that, I don't see it. I don't see the top-end talent on this roster.
Mac Hollins, he'll be the difference.
Yeah, Mac Hollins, great. A guy that was the 4th wide receiver in Buffalo.
The Vikings just signed Rondell Moore. Him with Jefferson and Rondell Moore, if he didn't get hurt, who knows what... Man. But yeah, the paid... To that caller who called a little while ago, I'm not saying you're wrong that could they have swung a few games last year. They could have. The Titans game, I think they should have won. They lost. There was a couple of games that they should have won that they lost. Oh, Seattle. Should have won that game. But bolstering the defense, I think, is what Vrabel wants to do, not necessarily what's best for the team. We'll take a break. I do want to get into more Celtic stuff, and feel free to call in. Lifshatz coming in at 8 o'clock tonight. We got in or out shortly as well. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
It's Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
And basketball games coming up. So, although they won't be full shows, at least we'll have 3 hours of hangout. So, feel free to hang out with us. You can join us on YouTube as well. Go to youtube.com/985 The Sports Hub, and you'll find us right there on the show. You can also join our bracket. I see more people have signed up for it. I just tweeted it out at Joey Murr if you want to join and have a bracket against us. There's no prize in the end, but who knows? We got approval to do this, though. So I didn't want to, Skaz, you were the guy, though. You were the guy who's like, do you think we should, ask to do this? And I asked. And they said, you know what, Joe? Let's use this as a test for next year. So maybe if this thing gets huge, next year could be like a big deal. I used to like to do Joey brackets, but then there really is a Joey brackets. And then Murray Madness was like something I did years ago, but now it's just Murray Madness. I wish we came up with like a good solid name for it. But anyways, join the link. Just sign up. Put in a screen name and then bragging rights. Who knows? Maybe somebody will come through with a prize. There is no prize. But you never know. So yes, for all the people who say they don't care about your bracket, well, you can care here. How about that? We just did a bunch of Patriots talk and draft stuff. I wanted to get back into the Celtics and how they should prepare for their rotation going forward. They've barely been at full strength this year. Chris Forsberg had some interesting notes mentioning Boston's preferred starting five of Tatum, Brown, White, Porzingis, and Holiday have played a little more than 300 minutes together over 20 games. Their top six, if you add Al Horford, have been available just 16 times this year. The Celtics have had their top 10, adding Pritchard, Hauser, Cornette, and Kata to the mix, just 12 times over 68 games. Don't think we'll be seeing many more of those. And quite frankly, you haven't seen it since February 23rd. That's when they beat the Knicks. Remember that game on a Saturday night? But Forsberg feels it's important for the starting five to get some additional run. Boston preferred five has logged 307 minutes. And together, they're a minus 1.6 net rating in that span. Excuse me. The numbers have improved from the rocky start after Porzingis first returned, but they're not nearly as great as they were before that. They were in 265 minutes, a minus 17. The lineup with Cornette starting in place of both Horford and Porzingis, they're a minus 11. A year ago, Boston's preferred starting five was absolutely outstanding. They were a plus 11 net rating in 623 minutes with 37 games. Still, Porzingis appeared in only 7 postseason games. The group has only played 82 total playoff minutes. The Horford lineup ended up playing 305 minutes over 19 games. Any concerns for you on that one, Skaz? See those numbers there? So they're technically worse when they're fully healthy?
The sample size is small, though, right? Like, that's the only thing I take away from that is the sample size isn't that big. It's just they're going to be ready to go. That doesn't worry me.
20 games.
Yeah, 20 games.
That's out of 20, 40. So, Joe math, quarter of the season?
Yeah.
23% of the season?
Yeah.
Nothing to see here, though, right?
You think that's an issue?
Honestly, I don't. Because I just think there's too much talent. Like, you know what I think will happen? Hauser won't be on the court as much, which will help them defensively. And there'll be nights where maybe Brown, Tatum, or Holiday, or White, one of them will have a down night, and Pritchard will probably have to pick up the slack.
Yeah, and people that are worried about, Tatum's fourth quarter numbers and stuff like that, part of it, and people don't want to hear this, but part of it is because he's not always playing in the fourth quarter. He's not always playing 12 minutes in the fourth quarter.
Don't tell people that.
It's not last year where they're blowing everyone out and he's sitting for entire fourth quarters, but I am not worried about the fourth quarter scoring of Jason Tatum.
what I meant by don't tell him that is it helps their argument. When he doesn't play because of big leads or anything like that, that's how they look at his numbers.
Numbers.
But by the way, the first game of the NBA Finals, right? Porzingis came off the bench and was elite, right? It was really the difference in the win. It won him a game. In a 7-game series, don't you want that one game? That only had to be was it a 5-game series? That was a gentleman's sweep, I believe. So realistically, that one game was the edge they needed. Porzingis is a big deal, everybody. Just remember, it used to be Marcus Smart. Sorry, Marcus. 617-779-0985. Brian's in Norwood.
Joe, my friend, thanks for taking my call.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. Your intro, Alice in Chains song, it was the first time I've ever in sports radio history, like listening for 15 years or so, had to turn you off, go to my CD on the Bluetooth thing, go to Alice in Chains, and blast that song in my truck, and then come back to Sports Hub. So hats off to you, my friend.
Well, I love Alice in Chains, and I want everyone to know.
Oh, you don't think I know? I'm a 98.5 historian, my friend. You started talking with your Seattle twang, the grunge sort of.
Grunge.
Heard it a million times.
I'm sorry.
No, I keep listening because you're the.
What,
you guys
how do you feel about the band Godsmack?
Let's talk more about Nickelback playing like baseball in a bathroom, you know what I mean, or a bathtub.
In a way, I almost respect Nickelback more because Godsmack is just such a rip of Alice in Chains. Go ahead. What do you got for a take tonight? Anything else?
Yeah. So my sports take, I'm getting frustrated after the press conference when the Patriots had the signing. Where the heck is Jonathan Kraft? And when is he ever going to be president and ever held accountable? I do believe, last time I checked, he's the president of the Patriots, or CEO or whatnot. He's always conveniently never in front of a microphone. And I'm starting to wonder is he a spoiled little entitled, like, I'm angry at my dad? And is there something there? Or I don't know. But when no different than John Henry, when you don't show up, fans like me, we're allowed to speculate. So I'll shut up and listen. Thanks.
Okay. Well, only thing I can give you on where Jonathan has been. Remember we had Bill Spiros in about a week or so ago? Jonathan, I believe, was at the Sloan Analytics Conference. I also believe he's on the board of Endeavor, which I know is going through some things right now with WWE. Well, good things with WWE and UFC. So I don't know where he is. Maybe there's just other. How about this? I'll leave it at this. I don't know where Jonathan is. And Robert is still the face of the Patriots. So I really can't get on anything with Jonathan because Robert's the guy who's taken the accountability. And he's the guy that starts every press conference, and he's the guy. So at this point, I'm not going to get on Jonathan. Well, I hit the headlines here. We got a quick little. Oh, speaking of ownership, Kevin Paul DuPont mentioned something about the Bruins ownership. So we'll do that next, and then we got in or out as well. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
All right, Patriots continue to add to their defense. Today they signed Jack Gibbons, linebacker.
Murray gets you right through the night.
I actually spoke with women today.
On the Sports Hub.
Kevin Paul DuPont, Boston Globe today. Will ownership do anything about the Bruins? His most notably son Charlie, the Bruins CEO, that their franchise cash cow has reached a crossroads. No telling if they'll do something about it, or frankly, if they even recognize it. Okay, Kevin Paul DuPont's words. What they have today is an overmatched product that will not win and could force season ticket holders to bail. And most critically, a franchise badly in need of adding legit varsity bona fide players. It's up to team president Cam Neely and general manager Don Sweeney to fix it via trade and or free agency. And there lies the crossroads. Virtually everything the Jacobses know about hockey, their team, and how it's constructed, and how the hockey sausage is made up and down the organization, is based on what Neely and Sweeney tell them at this dire hour. That's it. Because, well, that's been the Jacobs ownership model here for 50-plus years. They own, they observe, they let the hired help take care of all the hockey things and the building. They monitor the dollars in and out. That's Kevin Paul DuPont who wrote that. I just want to let that be known. That's not my opinion on that. So I just want to make that very clear. Not my opinion. Not my opinion. Someone else wrote it who's there every day. So do you think we'll get some sort of response here, Skaz?
I have no idea, Joe.
Yes, same either. The Boston Globe calls out ownership of the Bruins for the way they've done things for 50 years. Their quote, not mine. I'm just reading I wish I had the newspaper.
Yeah, Felger's probably he's got the Herald over there.
I wish I could just open it up and read it I didn't say it. I didn't say it. Not me. But when somebody writes, all they've done for 50 years is own, observe, let the hired help take care of things, and monitor the dollars in and out, I didn't say it. I didn't say it. I'm just sharing what someone else wrote.
Don't shoot the messenger is what you're saying.
Yes.
It sounds like, what Kevin is saying there is basically passing the buck is how I would try and say that more succinctly for our purposes. Passing the buck was the synopsis.
What I heard there was they hire, basically all they know is what Cam Neely tells them and Don Sweeney tells them. So will they do anything about it this offseason? Maybe they see the dollars not come in this playoff. Maybe the season ticket holders just wanted to at least put that article out there that it wasn't me. It was Kevin Paul DuPont of the Globe who said it. They monitor the dollars in and out, and they've been doing it for 50-plus years. Speaking of in or out, we'll do that next here on the Sports Hub.
What's it gonna be, McFly? Are you in or out?
More Joe Murray coming up. Joe Murray pre-party. It's Felger and Maz afternoons right now. Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
Are you in or out? Gotta know without a doubt. I'm the one you need for a dirty deed. I'm the best. Success is
clamoring for what you've been clamoring for in or out. Scotty Scheffler's Masters menu was released today, and no, it is not just a picture of his one from 2 years ago, even though it's basically identical. So Joe Murray and Dan, we will go through Scotty's Masters dinner and tell me if you're in or out. For appetizers, Scotty is having cheeseburger sliders, firecracker shrimp, and Papa Scheffler's meatball and ravioli bites.
In.
That's a hell of a course before some golf. Absolutely.
All right, your first course, Texas-style chili with cheddar cheese, jalapenos, and corn chips.
In. Your
main course, your choice of wood-fired cowboy ribeye or blackened redfish.
Absolutely in. Give me the ribeye.
In.
It's super in.
And then for dessert, a warm chocolate chip skillet cookie.
In.
What's wrong with this menu?
I think the only thing that's wrong with it is it's exactly the same menu we had the first time. But if you like what you like, I guess, no need to fix it up. And then for the real golf nerds out there, the raviolis have been getting some traction today because Scotty Scheffler earlier this season injured his hand at home. And he was making raviolis, is what he said he was doing when he injured his hand and missed a few events. So, golf Twitter has had fun with that one.
That might be the greatest meal I've ever seen on a menu.
Yeah, look, if you win the Masters, you get to do whatever you want. That's the reality. So he won. He gets to make the menu. And by the way, that menu sounds banging. I don't know what anyone's
in on that.
About. And if people say, "Oh, it's not cultured," yeah, you know what? I don't need culture. That's fine.
That warm cookie skillet, though.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Give me a spatula with that.
All right. Yeah. We will stick with food, but I don't think it's going to get the same reception that got. We'll head to McDonald's for this one. McDonald's currently testing out a vegetable-based burger. The patty consists of carrots, green beans, zucchini. Strawberries are coming back. He is going to bring back his $15 basketball shoe next summer. In or out on the return of Starberries?
In.
We need some old 90s.
Are they going to be $15? Patriots have also signed more defense. Jack Gibbons, linebacker. It's a one-year deal. He had 167 tackles over the last 3 seasons. Cam Robinson signs a one-year, $14.5 million contract with the Texans. The Vikings going forward with J.J. McCarthy. They did receive phone calls, but they also reached an agreement today with Rondell Moore and Shohei Ohtani homered in the official second game of the season for the Dodgers. Headlines, they are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Joe Murray. Your next update soon.
To us, Boston pride runs deep.
I'm a Bostonian!
This is Boston's home for sports.
Bow, bow, bow!
98.5, the Sports Hub.
I wanted to just bring this up, okay? So the report is Chad Graff, Stephon Diggs is coming in. Immediate reaction is I like the fact that they want to bring in a talented wide receiver. Okay? Is that fair to say, Dan? You're in on that?
Yep.
Okay.
Rookie mistake right there.
I don't care about necessarily the character issue. If there are character issues, could that just be made up? Because Josh Allen has said a lot of quality things about Stephon Diggs. Did they improve last year without Diggs? Like, did Khalil Shakir take the next step and Keon Coleman start to play a little bit better? Like I don't know. They were better, though. I mean, they lost in the AFC Championship game.
Sure. They lost in the AFC Championship game. So what'd they win?
Okay.
Nothing.
So, okay. So
a whole lot of absolutely nothing.
The report yesterday, though, was that the Patriots have been staying away from...
Hang the Colts banner. Participated in the AFC Championship
game.
Josh Allen, 2024.
But it's true.
It is
true. I'll give you that. But the report was the Patriots were staying away from star receivers because it could hurt Drake May's development.
Yeah, I mean, it was a silly report then. It's a silly report. It's even sillier now.
And then today, We hear Stephon Diggs. Skaz, I know that we've been connecting the breadcrumbs on, coaching staff and players. You got something on Diggs?
I was just going to say, the Bills didn't win the Super Bowl last year. Josh Allen did win the MVP last year without Stephon Diggs. He did.
Well, you want to know how much I care about the MVP? Take the MVP and shove it up your you-know-what.
Did you bet it?
Of course I did, but who cares?
I bet it too.
Who cares?
And I had Josh Allen, so
who cares about
I was a big fan.
I mean, that fair enough. I'm glad you won money, Skaz, but I'm just saying, in the scheme of things, I don't care if my guy wins MVP. I want the ring.
I think it's an indictment on Stephon Diggs that the Bills looked like they did without him, and Josh Allen looked how he did without him. Josh Allen's problem, I think, at times was, ball security, not spreading the ball, stuff like that. They were running it more with Cook last year.
Well, I think on the sideline too.
I think that's the big thing is that they were able to run the football. In the last few years, they hadn't been able to run the ball because they were bringing a whole bunch of dudes who just couldn't move the football. So I think that was a big part of it too. Terrible, and is a well below average starter in the NFL at left tackle. Got $20 million a year. So what does that tell you about Cam Robinson?
That he can start left tackle.
No. He tells you that they had no one else.
Okay, well, I mean, listen, do I think
he's the best of the rest?
If I'm going to be fair about Cam Robinson, he was available at the trade deadline. Patriots didn't want him. He was available in free agency. Patriots didn't want him.
Good.
They need a left tackle. Right now, their left tackle is Vidarian Lowe. Like, that's the reality of it. While we're on it,
Vidarian Lowe is basically Cam Robinson. You're getting the same sort of production.
All right, then. I only disagree because I think Cam Robinson's an actual left tackle.
Robinson's probably slightly better, but who cares? I think
it's the money, Dan. I think all the other stuff, it's the money.
So,
and the Patriots were looking at it like, no.
I don't think this is the money. The Robinson one, you know me. I love to go after Kraft. I think he's cheap as hell, but I don't think this % agree with that. And by the way,
and Doug Marrone was a big part of that group.
When you have Kendra in next on your show, ask her about Cam Robinson because she knows all the tea on Cam Robinson. Those days. He sucks and he's a bad person.
Well, they had Howard and Robinson, and they're both gone.
They traded Robinson midseason because he was that useless.
Yeah, I still think midseason the Pats should have looked at him for a fifth-round pick for what he went for.
No, thank you.
But at least they could have just had him. You know what I mean?
No, thank you.
And then make a decision in the offseason.
I want nothing to do with that.
Well, now they have no left tackle. So do you think that's what they do in the draft?
No. I think they go best player available. And by the way, I do not think I heard a lot of talk in this station from guys who cover the draft extensively here. Talking about Will Campbell. Does anyone know who the number one tackle is right now in betting markets to go number one? Anyone?
It's
not Will Campbell.
Well, I thought it was the kid from Missouri.
Membu.
Yeah, Membu.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. And a large majority of guys have said that he's the number one on most teams' board. Now, I did see the Breer report the other day basically saying that there's a lot of guys in the Patriots organization that like Campbell. May or may not be true.
Could be smoke too.
But we're 100%. We're in that time period. Membu is the number one tackle on, I would say, most teams' boards. You've heard from the large majority of guys. DJ has said it. Charlie Campbell, I think, does a fantastic job over at Walter Football, who's, I think, phenomenal, has said it. There's a ton of guys who've said it now who I would say are tier one reporters, and they've all said Membu's number one, not Campbell. Campbell sucked at LSU, guys.
I thought Campbell and Emory Jones were bad.
Terrible.
And Emory Jones was even considered a top tackle. I think he's staying in school, right?
He was terrible. They could not protect Nussmeier at all last year. He was terrible. So anyone who's saying, "Oh, give me the tackle," go watch a football game. Watch LSU, man. He sucks.
I do think Campbell can play in the NFL.
I don't.
Like I think
he's a guard. He's a guard on a good day.
Yeah, I think he's a guy. He's a guy. I don't see him as a strong talent. I know we got to go to break.
I'll put your strong take. I don't think he's an NFL starter. I think he's a swing tackle on a bad team.
So do you think he's a Cole Strange type?
No, I think he's significantly worse than Cole Strange. I put it like this. I would not draft Campbell if I was anywhere in the top. If I was in the first round, Campbell would not be a guy I would touch. I do not think that he can block any sort of speed. He cannot get his hands on you because he has short arms. He has no ability against speed. So I still think, Joe, it's going to be one of Hunter or Carter. I think that Shedeur Sanders is going to go 2 or 3 in this draft. I feel pretty confident about that the more time goes on. And I think they're going to be able to either get Carter or Hunter.
Well, the other name that's been linked to the Patriots today, this according to Phil Perry, Josh Connerly. tackle from Oregon. They have the Patriots trading up to 24 to get him.
Okay, see, I would like if I'm the Patriots and I want to trade up for a guy, it's Simmons. That's the guy I would trade up for.
So, Dan,
he would have been the number one tackle if he didn't get hurt.
My
That's
big board.
opinion.
This is just me. I know nothing. It's just my opinion. I think Kelvin Banks, Simmons, and the big kid from Minnesota, Ursula. Those are in my opinion, 3 tackles. Those are the 3 guys I like.
I would go Simmons. Simmons is the number one. Would be my number one.
And not
guy.
for nothing, but Simmons
with
is,
bias. I'm
up,
biased about that.
Simmons is up and to the right though. He didn't show up on this first. He's getting better. That's what I'm saying. I think he has a he hasn't reached his potential.
Can I say something that's probably going to be damaging here, but I'm just going to say it. The draft coverage, I think, in just the New England area is horrendously bad.
Did you hear the guys
horrendously.
yesterday?
The betting,
they were challenging Barth on he actually knew who everybody was.
The betting markets are, if you want to know who guys are actually going to take and who is trending in the right direction, the betting markets are so far ahead of anyone who actually gives you any sort of draft coverage. It's unbelievable. I mean, I hear every single day I'm hearing about Tet McMillan. McMillan's not going to be the first wide receiver off the board. It's going to be Matthew Golden. McMillan might not go to the late 20s, and we're talking about him at 4.
I know.
Like, the coverage has been just bad. It's been bad. If you want to pay any sort of attention and you think that you know anything about the draft, the betting markets are way ahead of everyone. Way ahead.
Well, why don't we do that during the break? Let's pull up some of the betting markets. I'm interested.
We got to do math.
I know.
We got to do March
I know.
at some point.
I know. I'm actually curious though.
I don't want to be mean, because I like Barth. This is not, but this is. Let me make that very abundantly clear. This is not about Barth, by the way, just because I like Alex Barth a lot.
I think they're leaning on.
I disagree with Barth on a lot of things, Patriots.
Dan, do you know what it is?
But this is not about Barth.
Do you know what it is?
This is
these people now are just.
No. This is the radio station. This is no one knows what they're talking about. No one outside of you.
But Dan, at the same time though, I'll just give you my opinion. It doesn't mean I'm right.
But you watch college football. Do you know? Do any of the shows watch college football?
I don't know.
No, they don't. No, they don't. The morning show definitely does not.
I had to tell
the afternoon show.
Naz who Cooper Flagg was one day.
The afternoon show. Definitely not. The midday show, I think Beetle probably does at times. I know McCone does. But I love Zolak. Zolak knows all the guys because he's the Pats guy. But do those guys religiously watch college? No one watches college football here, so no one knows the actual coverage, and no one listens to. But why isn't Daniel Jeremiah telling everyone? Breer and Jeremiah, 1A, 1B. Just listen to them. That's it.
I wonder if Dan gets calls about the things he says.
Oh, probably. I'm probably gonna get in trouble. I'm gonna get in trouble for that. 100%. You know what? Whatever. I'm just being honest. If you want to know what's going on, the betting markets are ahead of everyone. Everyone. If one guy says one thing, it moves $3 one way, and it's ahead of everyone else. That's the reality. What they got to do. Everything.
Yeah, I mean, just to Dan's point, and not in the college football world, but while we're taking shots, I mean, this kind of just
I love this
reiterates to me that the Patriots, the people that are covering the Patriots, do they have any idea what's going on? We're getting reports about no character guys around Drake May. Don't bring anybody in. Stephon Diggs is in the building the next day.
Just take a shot. I love it.
What is going on?
Keep going.
Do they know anything?
No.
What are we doing here?
I'm telling you, the coverage around the teams has been absolutely horrendous. It's been bad. Call it how it is. It's been bad.
I'm glad you guys.
It's been bad.
I'm glad you guys gave the take before I did, because now I'm gonna finish it. All they do is listen to the smoke. They get told stuff. Like, for example, some people know Josh McDaniels.
But it's the smoke.
So then they give you the Josh McDaniels angle. Yes, you're right.
But it's the smoke. It's like, we are talking about Tet McMillan. Tet McMillan was minus 500 to be the first wide receiver off the board a week ago. You know what he is now? I think at Bookmaker, I think he's like minus 150.
He's projected to go like 20th, 22nd.
Everyone's. I mean, every single draft guy is basically saying Golden. Even Agbuga could probably go ahead of him. I know DJ had Agbuga in round 2, but like and I know it's being super critical. Just the smoke. Everyone is super late on the smoke. Just look at the back draft markets. Like, and by the way, I'm not telling you I'm ahead of everything because I'm not. But just look at the draft markets. That's all you need to do if you want to know what's going on. That's it.
I just think that some people are leaning on their sources too much. and actually not doing the work themselves.
I think
Dan, I've
100%.
gone to. We got to go to break. I know we're really late. I'm sorry, guys, but do you know how many years I've gone down to camp and I've told you? Last year, I thought Jacoby Brissett absolutely sucked. He looked fat, and then did an interview about how he played video games all summer long. How did he look when he played last year?
He looked like butt. Yeah, I know. He looked like butt.
Literally, I said like that on the air, and you know what everyone said? Okay.
I didn't. I'll be fair. I didn't think Brissett was really the.
No, but he looked like he got $8 million and sat on the couch all summer. He played like it too.
That I agree with. He sucked. I'm not sure it was his fault, but he sucked. He's bad. He was not a good.
You gotta sometimes just give your own opinion instead of leaning on some scrub scout who's feeding you information to tell the media.
Here's my opinion. There has been very little, outside of Barth, good draft and Breer. There's been very little good draft coverage. Very, very little. Here's the Patriots are taking. They're either taking Hunter, Carter, or whoever the hell falls to them at 4. Because if they better hope and pray that Sanders goes at 2 or 3. And the way it's looking, it's probably going to happen. So I think you should talk about Carter and Hunter. Who do you want between the two of them? There's your draft coverage talk for the next 3 weeks. There you go. Just gave it to you guys.
Nobody knows what they're talking about. Listen to us. You all suck.
No, just follow the draft markets. It's not that hard. It's really, really easy. Come on.
All right, we got to go to break.
Oh, the phone calls in the last couple of days have drove me off the wall.
All right, Lifshatz is here. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go.
March Madness.
It's here.
We got our bracket if you want to join our night show bracket. Well, I just retweeted it back out, and, well, everybody that's in our YouTube chat, feel free. Dan, you have brought people. There's over 180 people watching on YouTube.
There you go. Remember that.
So we got the people.
It's all hate watching. Don't worry.
You think so?
I mean,
I've
maybe.
had a lot of people are like, we need this. We need more of this.
Okay.
Which I agree. That's why I said,
mean,
hey, let's do Lifshatz tonight.
Can I be honest with you? When you and me are on air, it's fun. I enjoy being on air with you. I have fun.
Levels get very loud.
Well, yeah, I'm a loud a-hole. That's kind of
people think I am yelling, but this is just who I am.
Yeah, we're just having fun.
When I really yell, you'll know.
Yes. I have actually seen that before. It's not fun.
I don't like to yell. It hurts my voice sometimes. All right, Dan. So the
scary.
the bracket is out. It's available, but I want to talk about games tomorrow. So
okay,
let's just get into it. Creighton's going to lead everything off against Louisville.
Home game for Louisville.
There you go. I was going to mention the South region. Louisville's a favorite in this one.
Yeah.
I think they've been a pretty. It's weird. They're 27-7. But I think they've been a really good second half team from what I gather. I know Creighton's coach McDermott had some talks of going to Indiana. He didn't end up going.
Yep.
I feel like this is a last hurrah for him. I wouldn't be surprised if he did move on from Creighton. So I always look at that as maybe the coach is looking ahead a little bit. Tough matchup for me. The favorite's Louisville. I want to lean Creighton, but I just don't think they put up a ton of points though.
Yeah, metric wise, I would lean Creighton in this game just because of the fact that again, they're both they're a double top 40 team in terms of offensive and defensive efficiency. When you take a lot of the ACC numbers into effect, you have to remember the ACC sucked this year. They suck in college football. Now they suck in college basketball. You got to remember that. So Louisville is both top 20 in offensive efficiency and defensive efficiency. 29th in offensive, 21st in defensive. The thing about Creighton is they're phenomenal from the free throw line. They shoot almost 79% there. So if you get down at the end of the games, you're not going to get back into them. They shoot it very well from the three-point line, almost 37%. They defend the three-point line, pretty well. Not phenomenally, but Louisville actually really struggles defending the three-point line. They allow opponents to shoot almost over 37%, Joe, from the three-point line. That's where this game should be won. The problem for me is this game is in Lexington. It's basically a home game for Louisville. Because of that, I do give the edge to Louisville there. I don't have anything in this game personally, but would lean to Louisville because I do think that the home field edge is not being quantified enough. The opener in this game was a pick 'em. I do think Louisville got screwed in the seeding. They're not an 8; they're more like a low 6, or low 6, high 7. So I think they kind of got screwed here. But lean Louisville again. ACC teams I'm not super high on this year, but. Creighton can shoot their way into a W here, so I won't have anything in this one.
High Point Purdue. I don't think Purdue has the ball handlers they once had. Obviously, they don't have the big man anymore. They have actually another big who's okay, but High Point I've been very impressed with. And 7.5. Purdue's has struggled. Right, they've been somewhat of a letdown towards the end of the year.
Yeah, in my opinion, Purdue is a two-man team. It's Braden Smith and Trey Kaufman-Wren. I know Fletcher Lawyer is decent, but he's a liability in a lot of type games. And I love a couple of these High Point kids. Juslin Bodo is going to be a guy that you see about tomorrow. Terry Anderson as well. There's the kid, Kamani Hamilton, can fill it up. He's an unbelievable scorer. Same with Keza Gifa is going to be another kid. I'm going to butcher these names.
Love it, Dan.
Sorry, I don't care.
You should have heard me say Hustadinov.
Okay, so fair enough. Yeah, I still can't say that name. I bet High Point plus 10 when it opened. It was one of my first bets I made. I love this situation for them. I did think they got a little overseeded, but nonetheless, they got a phenomenal matchup against this Purdue team who I don't think is very good. They're, again, as I mentioned, basically a two-player team. I think they're just bad. Offensively, they're phenomenal. Defensively, I think is where they badly struggle. And they're facing a team that is going to be, they're a top 25 offensive efficiency team in points. They're phenomenal from the free throw line. They can shoot the three pretty well. They're a volume scoring team. Both the teams are great rebounding teams. There's not going to be a major edge there. And the thing about High Point is they allowed a lot of threes, and I do think Purdue will stay in the game because of that. But I think High Point not only covers the 7.5, Joe, they win this game outright. They are going to advance to the next round. I think they have a real chance to get into the Sweet 16. So I'll say this. I like High Point 7.5 and money line tomorrow. Give it to me. You can PP me that.
Ooh, he's ringing it.
Yep.
I want to ring this one, but I wanted to talk it out first. Montana, Wisconsin. I see about 16-17 is the number. This isn't your old Wisconsin team that plays at a snail pace. They actually are an offensive team. Montana's a very good offensive team, but you know what I don't like about Montana? When they played Oregon, they lost by 31. When they played Tennessee, they lost by 35. And when they played Utah State, who was a tournament team, they lost by 12. So, you add all those numbers up. I think Wisconsin's been great, and they won the Big Ten, right? They were outstanding in the Big Ten.
Yep.
When I look at Ken Palm ratings, I know some people like to do that. Montana's 157, Wisconsin 13. I just think there's a big gap there.
Yeah, again, so High Point, when they played, did not play any Quad 1 teams, 1-0 in Quad 2. Now you talk about Montana, Joe, on the other side of that coin. 0-4 against Quad 1 teams, which I would put Wisconsin as a Quad 1 team. If you want to put them in the Quad 2, fine. 1-2 in Quad 2, so together, 1-6 against Quad 1 and Quad 2 teams. There's a reason this number is so massive in terms of differential. There's not a lot of things that Montana does well. They don't score the ball very well. They're just inside the top 100 in offensive efficiency, and they're outside the top 250 in defensive efficiency. They're number 250 in terms of defensive efficiency. The tempo is not great for them. It doesn't favor them there. While they're a great free throw shooting team, they're probably going to get abused on the boards by Wisconsin. I love what Wisconsin can do on the interior to Montana. I don't think they can defend Wisconsin. The size is going to be a big differential there. I think Wisconsin has a real chance to absolutely pound this team. I don't think this one will be very competitive. I have not gotten to the window on this one, but would be Wisconsin or nothing for me here.
All right, now two number ones. Not sure if there's much here, but Houston's 28-29 points. Auburn's 32.5 against Alabama State, who won in the poor Christian Laettner finish.
Yeah, so we'll start with the Houston game. I don't love the numbers. I don't love laying big numbers in these certain situations here, Joe. Just because I do think that you're going to get a couple of them, but you're not going to get. There's going to be a couple of teams who just don't show up. That's probably not going to be Houston because all Kelvin Sampson does is he wants to win and he wants to cover. That's all he does. That's literally all this guy does. They're phenomenal. And this SIU Edwardsville team, while they're a lot of fun, Rayshawn Taylor's a really good scorer, et cetera, their best player is probably equal to a guy who is just terrible. Jawan Roberts, who didn't even play in the Big 12 championship game or the semifinals for Houston, is questionable. He's expected to play. Joe, he is a big part of this Houston team. They are going to absolutely kill this SIU Edwardsville team. It'd be Houston or nothing for me here. I can't lay it though. On the other side of that coin, Alabama State and Auburn. Well, I've been a big Auburn guy all year. We talked about it on the Saturday show because obviously Kendra's a huge Auburn fan. Great offensive efficiency, number 2 in the country, number 12 defensively. This is actually kind of a number I don't love. I don't know what we get out of Auburn. We didn't see a great showing from them in the tournament. Honestly, I didn't really like what they gave us, what they showed. Maybe it's just they didn't care, which is totally fine, but we don't know if Johnny Broome is going to be 100%. Chad Baker-Mazara has been injured all year long. Denver Jones got banged up recently. This is a team that it's going to be very difficult for me to want to back them given this large number. 32.5 is too big for me. I would actually play the dog here with Alabama State. No play for me. I'll pass on it, but that would be my play if I had to.
12-5. I think Clemson's been really good this year, but you got to look at the conference, right? They're 7.5. McNeese has been good. 6 losses all year long. I'm torn on this one, but generally 12-5. 12's got an advantage.
Sure. I mean, 100% sure. So I'm on McNeese. You can PP McNeese there, Skaz. I'll take the 7.5. I put it 8.5. I don't think ultimately matters. I like the money line here too. I think I'm playing the money line as well. I have McNeese versus High Point in the round of 32, and have both of them for a little bit to make the Sweet 16 because I have played both of them because I have both of them winning. This is a bad matchup for Clemson. While I do really like this Clemson team, and I do think they are really good. I like Victor Latkin a lot. Ian Shiflin has been phenomenal for them at times. Jaden Zachary has been great too. They lose Dylan Hunter, who in my opinion is one of their best defenders to a broken hand. Now that turns into a huge issue when you have to face guys like Sincere Parker, who is one of the best volume scorers in the entire country. Forget about everything else. He can't defend, he can't rebound, but that kid can score. all McNeese does is score. They struggled obviously last year. We saw what happened to them in the tournament, but this is a team that they can beat. I think they match up pretty well against this Clemson team. I made this game much lower than market. I'm not high on Clemson without Hunter. I think it's a major, major loss. Yes, there's 2 Hunters, by the way, on Clemson, Joe. A lot of people don't know that. There's Chase Hunter and Dylan Hunter. They did lose the worst of the 2 Hunters, but he's still a phenomenal defender. I think they're in a lot of trouble tomorrow, Joe. I think McNeese wins this game outright. I think they can outscore Clemson. I think they can kind of beat Clemson at their own game, and that's a scary thought when you're a Clemson team who is one of the few teams that beat Duke this year. But I think this is a terrible matchup for them. I know there's going to be a lot of the people who like this matchup, but I love McNeese tomorrow. I think they win outright 7.5.
All right, I'm taking BYU. Love the way they finished. They lost to Houston. I just think that but the other thing is the altitude where they're playing. It's Denver. I know VCU's got to transition to that. Small number, 2.5. Give me BYU, who played in a really tough Big 12 this year. Give me BYU to win this one.
I'm going to be against you. Give me VCU plus 2.5. On Saturday, I said the 2 teams that I think can make deep runs as a darling are going to be VCU and San Diego. They got terrible draws, both of them, in my opinion, especially San Diego. But this VCU team, Joe, did you watch BYU against the Houston team?
Houston was awesome.
It wasn't Houston. BYU was anemic to scoring, and that's going to be a problem against VCU. BYU is strong. I love BYU. I took them 14-1, 16-1 to win the Big 12. The problem is when they go even a little bit cold against any sort of team who matches up against them defensively, they go cold. VCU top 25 in defensive efficiency.
VCU has this Ukrainian guard that's legit, Max Shulga.
Yep, Shulga's an unbelievable, and he's a dynamite 3-point shooter, and I mean dynamite. If you watch any of their games this year, you've watched Shulga. He is nasty from the point. Again, he's not even their best scorer. Joe Basimile is their best scorer, Joe. Okay, they also have Philip Russell and Zeb Jackson. Those guys can fill it up as well. They have a bunch of scorers. They can beat you defensively, which is exactly what they'll do. They'll slow down the tempo, 241 in tempo this year. They will also turn you over. They turn over 15% turnover rate on defense. They do not miss from the free throw line, 78% from the free throw line. They shoot 44% of their shots from 3. They shoot 35%. BYU shoots 50% of their shot from 3. They shoot 35%. Here's the problem. VCU is an elite perimeter defensive team, top 10 in perimeter defense in college basketball. That is a problem for BYU because all they do is shoot from 3. Big advantage to VCU. I think VCU wins this game, moves on to the round of 32.
All right. Anything Georgia Gonzaga?
I think Gonzaga wins. Again, I think they were also underseeded. I don't love the number here. I won't lay it, but I'll probably end up having Gonzaga and some money line parlay. But I know. But I do think that Gonzaga wins this game. I think it'll be close. I think Georgia is talented enough to stay with this Gonzaga team. They're battle tested. They faced a lot of good teams. But I still like Gonzaga to advance and win this game.
No, we got under 5 minutes for this segment here. Wofford, Tennessee. I liked what Wofford did winning their division, but I don't know. 18.5, I think they roll.
I lean Wofford in this game. Tennessee is a dangerous team, man. They have games where they just don't show up, and this is the type of game where I think they could just potentially not show up, to be honest with you. It's going to be all up Zelger and the Milicic show. If those guys don't show up, they can absolutely lose, too. Chaz Lanier has to be a good scorer for them tomorrow. They're going to face that Corey Tripp kid. He's a great volume scorer. Their best player is called Kyle Filowich for Wofford. He's a phenomenal player as well, especially defensively and on the boards. I would be very, very careful about Wofford. If there's going to be a 2 seed that loses tomorrow, or just in general the first weekend, Joe, my pick would be Tennessee because I think they struggle scoring at times.
Arkansas is going to be without one of its top players. Kansas is a 5.5-point favorite, and whenever I see a favorite at 5.5, I'm out.
Yeah, Adu Tiero is going to be out, and in my opinion, he's arguably Arkansas's best player. Boogie Fland also questionable. Have to. If he doesn't play, this team's in a lot of trouble because they need at least one of Fland or Tiero to play. Look, Kansas is probably the most talented team in college basketball, just in terms of pure talent. You could argue Duke with me, fine. Dickinson's phenomenal. DeJuan Harris is phenomenal. KJ Adams is phenomenal. They are phenomenal defensively. The problem is that they are soft, and they're super soft away from home. They're playing in Providence, Joe. I couldn't have anything but Arkansas in this game because I think Kansas is a bunch of soft babies.
They're frauds.
And I think they're fraudulent. And by the way, Dickinson, as good as he is, he's soft too. So it would be Arkansas or nothing for me. I can't get there, but it would be Arkansas. It would have to be Arkansas.
All right. My upset's Drake over Missouri. I know you don't like it, Dan, but I'm going Drake. If I can get it at 7, I'm in. I actually think they've struggled in the tournament. This is the best team they've had. I like Drake. I'm going to take them plus the 6.5, 7, whatever it is. You can ring it. What do you got? I know you're opposite of me. What do you got on Yale, Texas A&M? I see a lot of Yale chatter.
Well, just to give you a thing on Drake, again, they don't score. I think, unfortunately, when the NBC, the entire conference just doesn't score offensively. Missouri, number 5 in offensive efficiency, Joe. They fill it up. They're elite from the free throw line, 79% from the free throw line, and they're a really, really good defensive team at times. They can play defensive at times. They turn you over at a super high rate as well. So I think Missouri can beat Drake just because of that simple fact. In terms of Yale, I love Yale. I'll take Yale to 7.5 in the money line too, Skaz, tomorrow. Again, not all these teams will win, but I think they have a good chance. A&M cannot score. If you've listened to this Saturday show, I've said for weeks on end, this team can't score. This team is having problems. They don't know their identity. They can't score. Listen to this. From the field, Joe, they shoot 40.2%. From 3, they shoot 29.3%. They can't score. All Yale does on the other end, all they do is score. So Texas A&M is going to rely on a lot of second chance scoring opportunities, and I don't know if they're going to get that against Yale. Yale's a pretty good rebounding team. They're going to play at a moderate pace. They're going to turn you over at a super high rate. I know A&M doesn't turn the ball over a lot, but I think they're going to be pressed because I think Yale's going to be efficient offensively no matter how good Texas A&M is defensively. If they can't get to 70, they can't win this game. I think Yale is going to be pushing them very, very tough, very, very hard. I think Yale wins this game outright, Joe.
All right, Dan, I know there's UCLA, Utah State, Omaha, St. John's, which everyone loves, but I think one of the big games people are looking at is Michigan, UC San Diego. What you got?
Yeah, again, I'm gonna go UC San Diego, getting the points and PP that for me.
Wow.
Look, I love Michigan. I love them. They should not be a 5 seed. They should be a 3 seed. But this is just an awful, awful, awful matchup. They're hot. I get it, but they had to come all the way back against a Wisconsin team who just got cold, and that's why they won. Michigan allows teams to shoot 36% from 3. All San Diego does, they shoot the 3 at 36%. They shoot 42% of their shots from 3. They are an elite free throw shooting team, which Michigan is not. They turn you over at a high rate offensively. Michigan turns the ball over 16% of the time on their possessions. Their tempo is they're going to slow it down. I think Michigan plays any sort of into San Diego's hands. I think this one could get actually ugly. To be honest with you, there's a real chance that this one gets ugly. I like San Diego. I like the over in this game, Joe. I like the over.
142.
I think San Diego is going to be dynamite from 3, and I think that's a big problem for Michigan. I would lean over in this game, and I like San Diego here.
Of the other games we didn't talk about, I feel like UCLA has a lot to prove. I don't like them.
I had nothing in the UCLA game. Nothing for me now.
St. John's should roll, right? I know Omaha's a decent team, but
they should. Again, jump shooting teams, very difficult to lay big numbers with because they can be inconsistent, but I would lean St. John's over Omaha if I had to. And Texas Tech, UNC Wilmington tomorrow, Joe. I would lean Texas Tech. I don't think Wilmington has a prayer in this game. I think they were heavily overseeded. I think Tech is going to absolutely obliterate them. Give me Texas Tech minus 14.5 tomorrow. That number should be more around 16.5, 17.5. I think this game gets ugly. This one could be a 30-point type game. I think Texas Tech has a real chance to absolutely blow them out or lose outright. But I think Tech is good enough, battle-tested enough. I like the Big 12.
I feel like Skaz is on the lighthouse at Patriot Place right now, ringing that bell. Hey, we'll do the other side of the bracket. There's Friday games as well, and then we'll pick some winners. But this hour of the sports are brought to you by Valvoline and Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com to save 15% off your next Strathroy oil change at Valvoline and Oil Change, the official oil change of busy people. We'll get into the other side. Lifshatz is here. I'm Joe Murray, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
We are just going over the games. We went over Thursday's games. There's Friday's games, and then we'll kind of put it all together on a bracket for you. How about that? And I know that there's some favorites. I've already had people say, "Oh, I'm taking Florida." So we'll get into it. But the Friday games quickly, Dan. Baylor, Mississippi State.
Yep.
I don't love Baylor. I don't like the way that they played this year, to be honest with you. And them as a 9 seed, but the line is where I'm a little off on this one. Mississippi State's just around a favorite, 1.5. We'll get into the Alabama stuff, but that's going to be the first game on Friday, and I don't love Baylor, but does that mean that maybe because of their struggling schedule in year that they had, maybe they can pull off the upset?
Yeah, I like Baylor. I played Baylor plus 1.5 yesterday, so you can PP me on that one.
Wow.
I think they're much better without Ojiwana, which is really crazy because I think he's one of their better players, or Ojiwana. I can't pronounce his name. I'm going to butcher it, whatever. But their big guy, he's out for the year. I think they've been better without him. Omir has kind of stepped up and played a much bigger role there. Same with VJ Edgecombe. Edgecombe bothers me at times. He's very streaky, but nonetheless, he's still an elite volume scorer. Him and Omir together, I think, are going to give this Mississippi State team just a lot of problems, Joe. I don't know how Mississippi State really counters them. I do think that they're, look, I'm not telling you that Mississippi State is terrible because they've been fun, but they played a lot of games in the SEC this year, and they just got absolutely smoked. Now, in the Quad 1, they were 7-10. Here's my worry. Quad 2, they were 6-2, but you know what? Baylor was 7-1 in Quad 2 as well. So when Baylor didn't play the elite of the elite, they played very well. And again, Baylor was projected to be a top 10 team in terms of talent, Joe. And I really like to take teams that underperformed during the regular season. I like to take them early when they're underseeded. And to me, Baylor probably right about the 9 seed, but just in general, probably should have been better than that. They were a top 20, offensive efficiency team, number 16, and just inside the top 60 defensively. Mississippi State was outside the top 20. They were just inside the top 50 defensively, but they don't score. They're terrible from the free throw line, 67%. They don't shoot threes well, 32.1%. They don't shoot the ball well as a team in general. Baylor is phenomenal from the field, 48%. They shoot the three at a ridiculous rate, 39%, and 39% of their shots are from three. So they shoot 39% on 39% of their shots. Meanwhile, Mississippi State takes 39% of their shots from three, and they only shoot 32%. Mississippi State, they're phenomenal defending the three-point line, and I think that's where this game is won and lost. Both really good rebounding teams, both good at turning the other teams over. The pace is going to be very slow if it's Baylor's way, a little bit faster Mississippi State's way, but regardless, great matchup. I lean Baylor here. I just think they're better. I will take the more talented team, and I think the better, higher scoring team. Here's a little fun fact for you. Teams that struggle scoring in the tournament over the last 10 years, okay? Teams that shoot under 35% from the field and under 35% from three against the spread in the first round. 38% over the last 10 years. In the last 5 years, that's now 27%. So teams that are not scoring and can't score struggle in the first round because they face teams usually that score at a much higher rate. And so I'd put Mississippi State into that argument. They're not quite Drake, but they're not great either. So again, they're kind of on that level where I'd say they're a team that struggles against high scoring teams.
All right, so let's knock a couple out. Alabama, Robert Morris, and then Lipscomb, Iowa State. Any underdogs there?
No. It would be Alabama or nothing for me. Alabama is just ridiculous. I think they put up 100 on Robert Morris. I think they're the highest scoring team this week. That would be that. If I had to make a bet, it'd probably be in this game. It'd be Alabama team total over because I don't think Robert Morris has a prayer of stopping them offensively. There's just no one that can stop them. I think they score 1 billion points on them. Iowa State, I think our buddy Chris Thurston loves Iowa State. I've started to lean into them. I played Iowa State minus 14, not big, not even a full unit, but about half a unit. I do lean Iowa State. Look, without one of their best players, they're going to be without Keyshawn Gilbert for the tournament. That sucks. They're still an elite defensive team, top 10 in defensive efficiency. They shoot the ball well from three, not great, but well from three. And they're gonna out rebound this Lipscomb team who doesn't get a lot of chances. They do not defend the three well. Over almost 36%, they allow their opponents to shoot from three. It's just if Iowa State can defend the 3-point line against Lipscomb, this game gets ugly and it gets ugly quick. I just don't see a way from Lipscomb to stay within the number against Iowa State. Even without Gilbert, I still make this number higher.
Colorado State, Memphis. I think Memphis is really. They're an underdog. I don't understand, but it's 12-5. Is that what we see here?
Memphis kind of sucks. Let's be.
But you know what? They pull out every game, though.
The whole conference sucks, Joe. The whole conference is down this year. The entire conference has been just booty. I don't know what else to tell you. Booty. I don't want to say what it is. PJ Haggerty's phenomenal, but their best player, Tyrese Hunter, he's out, Joe. He's out for the first round. He's their best player, at least arguably, in my opinion, he is. And he's going to be out for this game. Now, we know how the Mountain West has done the past few years. They've really struggled in these games. No doubt about it. I don't want to sit here and tell you I love Colorado State, but I probably could only have Colorado State in this game. I lean Colorado State, made the number, I think, 2.5. Not a big enough number for me to bet here. And again, I'm not betting with a ton of edge in the tournament because all these numbers are great. But Colorado State, straight and steady, slow plotting team. They shoot well. They take care of the ball. They turn teams over. Memphis turns the ball over at a super high rate. They're not an elite shooting team either. They score a lot of points, but I think a lot of it has to do with the conference that they played in. I'm not high on the Mountain West, but I don't like Memphis either. I think Memphis should have been more of a 6 seed, in my personal opinion, maybe 7. So I would lean Colorado State out of the fact that I just think it's Memphis without their best player, just not great. I probably won't end up betting this one, to be honest with you, but I would lean Colorado State or nothing.
All right, St. Mary's Vanderbilt. We already talked about North Carolina Ole Miss. I kind of like North Carolina, even though I think that they shouldn't have made the tournament.
So we'll start with the St. Mary's game. St. Mary's Vandy, I don't love this game. I probably won't have anything. I do think St. Mary's advances. I think they're one of the teams that is not talked about enough in this tournament. They play the WCC this year, Joe, was so much better than it's been in the past couple of years. Just think about all the teams that are in there now. Oregon State, who was actually pretty decent this year. Okay, Gonzaga was good. St. Mary's, the San Francisco team was really good this year. The WCC was heavily underrated, in my opinion. I know they didn't play the toughest strength of schedule, but they were great. They were 9-1 on the road this year, Joe. Even on the neutral site, they were 3-3. They were 4-3 in quad 1, 6-2 in quad 2. Vanderbilt struggled in quad 1. They struggled in quad 2. They took care of business in quad 3 and quad 4. And that's the big difference to me, is that St. Mary's was 10-5 in quad 1 and quad 2, and Vanderbilt was 9-12. It's just there's a lot of issues with Vanderbilt. They don't have some of their best players playing at a high level right now, at least in my personal opinion, Joe, which is a big issue. I think McLaughlin has been average at best recently. Mitchell Saxon has been phenomenal for St. Mary's, and Mikey Lewis is the other guy. You're also going to talk about this kid, Augustus Marcialonis. Those three guys, basically a big three of St. Mary's. I don't think Vanderbilt can stay with them. Vanderbilt is just a terrible three-point shooting team, 28%, one of the worst in the entire tournament. They're a bad shooting team from the field, Joe. They shoot under 40% in total. They turn the ball over too much offensively against this team. They're a terrible rebounding team. St. Mary's is going to kill them on the boards. St. Mary's should beat them comfortably, in my opinion. But even so, I think they advance. And then UNC is going to be a bet for me. You can ring it. UNC -1. PP it for me. I think UNC is going to dominate Ole Miss. Again, teams that shouldn't make it in usually go on these magical runs. And forget about the metrics. That's just a thing that's happened the last couple of years. But nonetheless, let's talk about this UNC team just in general, though. They are super uber talented. They were a preseason top 10 team, Joe. They struggled in the ACC, no doubt about it. 1-12 in quad 1, but they were 8-0 in quad 2. So they suck against the elite of the elite, but against the mid-tier down, which I would put Ole Miss in that tier, they were phenomenal this year. And they did have one really bad loss, but they shoot the ball extremely well. They're going to crush Ole Miss on the rebound. They're going to out-rebound them. There's going to be a ton of second chance points here. And Ole Miss really struggles defending the three-point line. I think UNC takes advantage there. I really like everything for UNC. They're a great offensive team. Defensively, they can still give you fits with their size. They're not a great defensive team, but they give you fits. And Ole Miss, despite the fact that they are really good defensively, they just couldn't defend the three-point line this year. And they are one of the worst rebounding teams in the tournament. UNC should dominate them second chance points. I like UNC to advance.
All right, Dan, let's do these quick, and then we'll kind of get into the bracket a little bit. But Florida should roll Norfolk State.
I actually lean Norfolk State. I think Norfolk State should have been a 15 seed. I think they will give Florida a fight here. I would lean Norfolk State with
Kentucky's double digits, 11 versus Troy.
I didn't have a lot in this game. I think Kentucky wins this game. Troy kind of sucks, but again, Kentucky is going to be without Lamont Butler, one of their better players, one of their best scorers. Would lean Kentucky, but I certainly won't be betting this one.
Marquette's 3.5, New Mexico.
I like New Mexico. I think New Mexico is a dangerous team in this tournament. I'd be very careful. Marquette kind of blew their load in the Big East Championship. That conference is down in general. I would say that Marquette's kind of teetering on catastrophe right now. I would lean New Mexico. They are very underrated. They're a metric darling this year.
Akron's been very good. They take on Arizona 14.5 point dogs.
I think that this is one. I think a lot of people are going to like Akron here. The MAC was just kind of down as a conference in general. And I did take a really good number with Akron. I think it got 16.5 against Arizona. I'll probably come back on Arizona the other side. I think Arizona has a potential to blow them out. I've kind of wavered in this one because it is a good matchup for Akron, but Arizona's, I think, too uber talented from them. I'll go Arizona because I have to here, but this is probably one I wouldn't bet the number of current number.
You think UConn could be one and done?
No, so I wanted to. I really thought. I said all year UConn's a one and done team. I don't think so. I think this is a really good matchup. Oklahoma sucks. You want to talk about a team that should not have made a tournament? Oklahoma should not have made a tournament. This is not a good team. I don't care they played in the SEC. I don't care they're 20-13. This team sucks. UConn should absolutely obliterate them offensively. UConn should win this game. We did miss one at 4:30, Joe. Maryland and Grand Canyon. I know CT loves
People love Grand Canyon. Man.
I think Maryland was underseeded. I think Maryland is really good.
I like them better than Michigan.
Strong Big Ten team. I think Maryland should have been 3. Michigan should have been 4. Wisconsin should have been a 5 seed instead of the order they put it in. I think Maryland it probably blows out Grand Canyon here.
Michigan State should blow out Bryant.
I don't think so. I think Bryant's going to give them
the
a little
Fighting
bit.
Wallachs?
A little bit. I think there's a chance they give them a little bit. Michigan State would probably blow them out in the second half. If I'm playing Bryant, I'm probably going first half. Michigan State has been a very mediocre first half team this year. They have been an absolutely elite second half team despite what happened in the Big Ten tournament. I would lean Michigan State over Bryant here.
All right, and then Oregon's won their first game against the spread the last 5 years in the tournament. 6.5 versus Liberty.
Yeah, this has been probably one of the most difficult games I have in terms of finding a play if you want to bet every game, whatever, which I certainly would not advise. But I've been asked for people who do you like in this one? Oregon would probably be my bet here, but the problem is they're just completely different teams, and it's really going to come down to the pace of play. If it's a slow pace play, I like Liberty here. If it's not, I would lean Oregon. Again, Liberty is a pretty good defensive team. They're going to play strong here, and they're going to give you fits. But the CUSA kind of sucked, and they really were not very impressive in the tournament. Got super lucky. They're lucky to even be here. I know they're a 12 seed. I think Oregon probably beats them and probably covers the number here, Joe.
All right, and then who's your Final Four?
Okay, so Final Four, because I have to. I'll pick it. I'll pick it here.
I'll give you mine.
Okay,
I have
go ahead.
Florida, Michigan State, Alabama, Houston.
Okay. Wow. I like that. I do like that. I don't know if Michigan State makes it just because I think that the talent level still is not there. I'll go Houston. I love Houston. I'll go Florida, although I think everyone and their mother is on Florida, which is a little scary when everyone's there. I don't know. Give me a few minutes to kind of determine.
All right, I have Michigan State, Florida, Alabama, Houston, and I have Florida and Alabama in the championship game with Alabama winning the whole thing.
Okay, I'll go Iowa State out of the South. I don't like them, but I don't know who else I would possibly pick there. I would pick Michigan if they didn't line up for San Diego first round, honestly. So I'll go with Iowa State because I don't really love them. And out of the East, I mean, I'll probably go Alabama. I think Duke is the most talented team in the entire country.
And they do. I just had Alabama scoring more than they did.
If Cooper Flagg is 100% healthy, I'll take Duke, no doubt about it. But the problem is, I don't know the health of Cooper Flagg. They're acting and they're being priced in market like he's 100% healthy, and I just don't believe that. So for right now, Alabama. But this is kind of why I have a hard time.
So you have Alabama too. I have plus 2,200 for Alabama to win the whole thing.
Yeah, again, I think Duke. If Cooper Flagg is healthy, I will definitely go Duke.
They're plus 320.
I know. The problem is they're being priced as if Flagg is healthy, and I'm not sure he is. For me, the best bet on the board, in my opinion, is Houston plus 700 to win the tournament. I understand everyone. They have literally in the Midwest. Who scares you? Tennessee is a worse version of Houston. Kentucky lost their best scorer. Purdue sucks. Clemson lost their best defender. I think they suck. I think they lose in the first round. Gonzaga, I think, is going to be Houston's most difficult game in the Midwest. I think they have a borderline walk to the Final Four. I think they're one of the most talented teams that no one talks about. Roberts is going to be back. They can beat you 7 or 8 deep. No one else in the entire tournament runs 7 or 8 deep with the talent that Houston has. I don't see how they don't make the Final Four, honestly. I love them to get there, and just because of that, I have them winning. Again, if they face Alabama, I think that's a really difficult matchup for them, and I'd probably lean Alabama over them because I just don't know if they can outscore Alabama. But it probably should be Florida or Houston. My concern is that everyone, and I mean everyone I've talked to, likes Florida because they won the SEC. I bet them to win the SEC title, Joe. Everyone likes them. If Cooper Flagg is healthy, I will take Duke to win, but I just don't know his health. But if Flagg is healthy, I'll take Duke to win. They, in my opinion, Joe, Duke, if Flagg is healthy and Brown is healthy, they're the best team we've seen in 7 or 8 years. I think they are that good. They are power rated that much higher than everyone else in the past 7 or 8 years. They are phenomenal. The problem is 2 of their best players have major health concerns and no one really knows what's going on with them. So they're being priced as if they're healthy, and you can't act as if they're healthy because we just don't effing know. So we're going to find out, but it's very difficult to find out there. And probably they're facing Mount St. Mary's, who did win tonight. I hope they get blown out by $4 billion. So there you go.
Anything else?
That's it for me. If you want some longer shot picks to go, I think VCU to make the Sweet 16 is a really fun pick. They run into Wisconsin in the round of 32. I think that's a really difficult matchup. I think still UC San Diego is a really good bet to make the round of 32 because if Yale beats A&M, I don't really care. I think San Diego demolishes either A&M or Yale. So I think you could probably bet Michigan or San Diego to make the round of 32 there because I think they have a great matchup against either of those teams. I think UNC to make the round of 32 if they run in. Again, Iowa State, I think they can win that game. I know I just picked Iowa State to my Final Four. I still think they can win that game. I think New Mexico is a sneaky long shot for the round of 32. If they end up making that game because I think they can beat Michigan State. They have the talent to do it. But my favorite bet, without doubt, to make even a Sweet 16, if you want to go that far, McNeese and High Point, because I think both those teams win. I think both those teams win tomorrow, Joe, and I think both those teams have a very good chance of even if they don't. I think Clemson loses the High Point, and I think McNeese beats Purdue. Either way, if one of them wins, I think you're sitting pretty there because I think both of them match up very well against their next round opponents. So I would bet both of those. Those are my favorite long shot type plays. Houston to make the Final Four, slam dunk for me. One of my biggest bets I made in March Madness, maybe ever.
Give me Clemson plus 140 to make the Sweet 16.
Wow, okay, going against me. I like that.
Give me...
I like when you fade me because it's fun. We have something to go against.
Give me Tennessee to make the Elite Eight.
Tennessee. I just don't know if they have the firepower, man. I just don't know if they have the firepower. Can they beat Utah State? That's a really good Mountain West team. Mountain West sucks, though. I mean, can they outscore a Kentucky team? Can they outscore... Illinois kind of sucks. It's honestly not bad, Joe. I'm going to say this. I think the Midwest is maybe the worst bracket we've ever seen. It's borderline there. Gonzaga, in my opinion, is potentially the second best team. Like, I think you can make a real good argument that Gonzaga and Tennessee are pretty even. So this bracket Kentucky's terrible, Illinois is terrible, Purdue's terrible. I don't think Clemson's very good without Hunter. I think arguably it's one of the maybe the worst brackets we've ever seen. So I don't hate it. It's just it's kind of just it really is Houston, Gonzaga, and Tennessee. I think one of those three teams wins that bracket.
All right, Dan.
Very square.
This will be up on the website, so everybody can go listen to it.
I'm going to turn it into an official podcast for us too, just because I think that it'll be fun.
Gave out a lot of picks.
We did. I'll put it out tonight as well. So
all right,
there you go.
Well, enjoy your. I know you had your birthday this week. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Usually it's a March Madness. You were in Vegas a year ago, 2 years ago.
I've not been in 3 or 4 years.
It was your birthday when you went.
It used to be a yearly thing.
Oh yeah, now you dadded up.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Daddy Lifshatz.
She's still too young. I don't want to get her sick too. Everyone and their effing mother is sick right now, so I didn't want to go out there. Also, didn't really love all the plane stuff going on, so didn't want to fly. I'm kind of
going to Vegas in 2 weeks, so you know.
Yeah, have fun. I'm definitely jealous, no doubt about it. But I'm probably gonna go next.
You'd love WrestleMania. You'd be right up that alley.
It's kind of.
You'd bet on the matches.
Oh yeah, 100%. But it's kind of out of my it's out of my knowledge base. I'm just not
I know,
a
but that's why
guy.
it's great. It's just go and enjoy it.
I get it. Look. I want you to have fun. I want you and Jimmy's going, right?
Me, Jimmy Sargent, and the Wong.
And the Wong. Hell of a crew. I hope you guys have a blast. Any of the wives, any of the wags going?
No, we're just going to be living it up, bro.
Guys trip. I love that even more. Are you guys all staying together?
I think we're all staying at different places.
You're all staying at different places. That's even better, honestly.
Yeah.
You get to go back. You get to go back to your room, and you get to just hang out. I'm telling you, the way to do Vegas. Don't stay with your buddies. I know that sounds completely.
I never.
Completely
we've
opposite.
talked about this. I hate sharing rooms with anybody.
100%. Get your own rooms. Don't be a cheap. You know what? And go back and relax for a little bit, because if you're going to be there for a few days, you got to recoup. You got to recharge. You got to do all those things. I'm telling you, own room and staying in a different place. Just Uber over. Go whatever to your buddies. Go take an Uber, whatever. I'm telling you, it's so much fun. You get to experience all the different casinos and stuff too. It's a blast. So have fun. I'm jealous.
All right, he's Dan Lifshatz, everybody. He'll be on Saturday. I don't know if Kendra's back. She's back.
Kendra's back.
Oh, she's back. Okay.
She's back from Ireland.
Okay.
She was over there drinking heavily, and then before that, she was in Montreal doing the strippies.
She's like Carmen Sandiego now.
Dude, she travels more than anyone I know.
And she does overnight trips too.
Yeah.
All right, we're late.
Sorry.
Thank you, Dan. March Madness.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we got to go to break. He's Dan Lifshatz. I'm Joe Murray, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Hey, it's Beetle from my Ram dealer.
And I don't know where else you can get that type of college basketball talk. I don't know where anywhere else you can get that. So, we were supposed to do a podcast, but it didn't work out because I'm busy. So Dan came in on his own time and did that. So thank you, Dan. And you can check out him and Kendra Saturdays, 7 a.m. here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. When he goes, I think we got fairly breaking news. I didn't know it was going to be Stephon Diggs. So now that we've had some time to let it digest a little bit, the Patriots are hosting wide receiver Stephon Diggs for a free agent visit. He's 31 years old. He's recovering from a torn ACL. He's posted 6 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons before last year's injury. But yesterday, there was a report from Tom Curran that the Patriots were hesitant to signing big-time free agent wide receivers because it could impact or hurt Drake May's development. So we did an exercise looking for players that have hurt quarterbacks. So you can't say that Tyreek Hill hurt Tua Tagovailoa. You just can't say it. You can't say that A.J. Brown hurt Jalen Hurts. Right? You can't say that when you give a team wide receivers or a quarterback a wide receiver, it hurts. Like, how about you look at the Chargers, right? The Chargers had Keenan Allen, Mike Williams literally pulled away. And although they had a really good year and leaned on their offense and running game, when it got to the playoffs, and they did draft Vlad McConkey, but they needed more. So I expect the Chargers, who lost Palmer this year, by the way, too, to go out and get some sort of prime wide receiver maybe in the draft. But we did the exercise of, was there a wide receiver that went and played with a quarterback that hurt the team? And the only one, and it was a reach, it hurt our arms, but it was a name, was Stephon Diggs playing in Houston because C.J. Stroud did regress his sophomore year. He did. Now, if you look at the numbers when it comes to Stephon Diggs, last season, he played 8 games and had 47 receptions in 8 games and 3 touchdowns. And I saw you send this over, Skaz, but Diggs has averaged 62 yards per game last season. The Patriots haven't had a receiver average over 60 yards per game since Julian Edelman, 2019. So, I don't want to hear anybody say, no on Diggs. Diggs is, you know why Diggs is here?
Because he's about to be 32 and he's coming off an injury.
And how much money?
Exactly.
He's gonna play what? 10 to 12 games? Let's say he goes on PUP to start the year, misses the first 4 games. Maybe he misses a couple of games. All I'm trying to say is you can't pay a player for a full season. You can do incentive. You can do the great Patriot deals. I'm not against the player. Not against the player. But when the reports say that they didn't go after big fish because of attitude issues or to hinder Drake May, sorry, I said the attitude issues, to go after a wide receiver to hinder Drake May's development, the guy you want to go and bring in is Stephon Diggs? That's the problem I have.
I'm with you, Joe. I have absolutely no issue with them bringing in Stephon Diggs. These are the types of moves I think fans have been clamoring for. They want talent. The Patriots need talent. They have a severe lack of talent, especially at the wide receiver position. So I have zero issue with the Patriots bringing in Stephon Diggs. But I'm with you. I have an issue with, being told that the Patriots aren't going to do this. They don't want to. No, the whole report. All Tommy Curran should have said is they don't want to spend big money. That's what it is. That's what he's being fed, or at least that's what I'm led to believe. How are we supposed to believe?
It's a report. It's not what he thought. It's what he was reported. Right? I mean, let's face it. And it probably came from them, right? The Patriots?
I mean, you'd have to think so, right?
Yeah.
So if that's what they want Tommy Curran to think, and that's what they want you to think, I just the mixed messaging with this team right now is all over the place. I like Stephon Diggs. Do I think he's kind of a diva? Yeah, absolutely. But that's what you get. Like Lifshatz said, that's the position in the NFL. You're going to have to deal with some of that. Zero issue with them bringing in talented guys. Just don't tell us that, they're not going to do it because of Drake May in the room, in the locker room. No, it's because of money. It always comes back to money.
Let me be clear on the quote, just so we can protect all sides here. Per Tommy Curran, the Patriots were exceedingly wary of a negative impact a demanding veteran wideout could have on May. Should we just stop there? The Patriots were exceedingly wary of the negative impact a demanding veteran could have on May. What has Stephon Diggs been, Skaz? Negative impact, maybe not on the field, but I didn't love his body language with Josh Allen. Now, did the Bills not win they lost on a couple of controversial calls and some defense late in the game? But was Stephon Diggs the reason why they didn't make it to the Super Bowl? I don't think so. But to say exceedingly wary of negative impact with veterans, and then you bring in Stephon Diggs, I hate it. Can you dig it? How corny was that? So anyways, I can't think of anybody. I like his attitude. I think he's a playmaker. You look at those numbers, how do you say no? It's just that's what they're settling on. A guy off an injury. Do you think he's going to want the ball?
I hope he wants the ball. You want him to want the ball. Just what's he going to be like when he doesn't get it sometimes?
So there we go. I was just going to ask you, how do you think it would be with two developing receivers, Mac Hollins? Did they play together, by the way? Hollins and Diggs? No, because was he in Buffalo just for 1 year? Can't remember that now. And then to put the connection together.
They did not play together.
They did not play together. Okay. I'm sure they can complement each other. Diggs, you'd rather have Diggs than Bourne, right?
Yes.
Even off the injury and everything?
Yes.
I think he'd be the number one option.
Without question.
Don't you want them to find better? Imagine Diggs and another guy. Let's just play the game.
You're getting crazy, Joe.
No, let's play the game. Play it. Do you think Diggs and Travis Hunter could play together?
Of course they could play together.
Is it redundant?
Redundant might be strong, but neither of them are big. They're both on the smaller side.
6 feet. I think Diggs might be 190. I know Hunter's smaller. He's probably 180, 175. To me, that's redundant. And, yeah, I shouldn't say redundant. But to me, it's just the same size guy. And I can't overlook these numbers, though. In 8 games last year, 47, 503. If he played a full season, he's on pace for 100 catches, 1,000 yards, and 6 touchdowns. He's got some damn good numbers, man. And who does he have an association with on the coaching staff again?
Todd Downing. Maybe the worst offensive coordinator in the NFL over the last 5 years. Not great off the field either.
A day after the reports of not going after a veteran because they've been weary about it for Drake May, Stephon Diggs is the name. Listen, if Stephon Diggs wants to play for the Patriots, I'm all in. All in, baby. Anything else?
Yeah, if they don't sign him, we're going to crush him for that too. If he leaves.
Yeah. What's a better fit for him, though? Houston's already got all their, and then he's not going back to Houston. Rondell Moore just signed with the Vikings today, right? He's not going to go to the Jets. Ravens, man.
Where's Deontay Johnson end up? Is he back with them?
Jesus, where is he? How many times did he get cut last year?
He's a guy that's, bounced around. A guy that I thought was a good number 2, maybe a high-end number 3.
Arizona.
Okay.
Yeah. But just looking around the league, man. Yeah, Diggs could go to the Cowboys. You know, like if the Bears lost Keenan Allen, would that? But, you know, veteran guys with young quarterbacks, you know. I think he's going to the Patriots because it's a need, and he can probably get a bunch of per-game bonuses by achieving big numbers. But he is considered and here's another one on him. A guy that was actually drafted in the 4th round who played well, right? Somewhat of a lottery ticket. Like, that's the guy. I would prefer to get a guy with a little bit more upside, but at least you know what he's done. All right, well, I have the final segment coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
he gets inside. So him as a clutch player this year has been very underrated.
I agree with you. How about the fourth quarters?
I don't know his stats overall in the fourth quarters. My eyeball test is basically he's conserving himself for the end of the game. So I think that's part of the reason he's not scoring so much, is he's sort of letting the game come to him first. And my girl and I went to Pub 99, Towering Midnight Fudge Cake. Oh, it was so good, and she was making some Joe Murray noises eating it, so I felt like I was there with you.
Towering? What is it again?
Towering Midnight Fudge Cake.
Midnight. I'm not aware of this.
Oh, I'm shocked, Joe. You know all the good food.
99, right? 99. Right? Well,
yeah, 99.
Oh, I know what we're talking about here right now. Oh, yeah, baby. I know this one. Yeah. You get some vanilla ice cream on that?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
One spoon or two spoons?
One spoon, one big spoon.
That looks good, man.
Yeah,
how do you feel about the Cadbury cream egg?
Oh, I like the Cadbury cream egg. I'm excited for Easter to come up. You know, I'm Christian, so that's a big part of it. And I like the Cadbury cream egg, the dessert for Easter. So that's it's a huge part of my celebration. I always get that at the convenience store I go to.
All right, Dean. Well, the Lord has risen. Thank you. Skaz, did you see what I put in the Slack right there? I don't know if you saw it, but I popped out the old. Oh, maybe I didn't even hit send yet. I popped out an old Cadbury cream egg, and during the commercial, I made a video. And well, all I can tell you is it was nice and creamy. Did you watch the video?
I'm nervous, Joe. It is now aggregated, finally. Now I'll give it a watch.
Want to do it live? You got 35 seconds to go. It's only a 60-second TikTok. Imagine just staring at a Cadbury cream egg.
Joe, do you think Cadbury cream eggs are the same size they've always been?
I think so.
You don't think they've gotten smaller as the years have gone on?
If they have, as long as they don't change the cream. I love the cream. What is that cream? Like, what is that? It's got a little orange or pink in there. Anyways, who's in tomorrow?
Matt McCarthy tomorrow until 9:30, I believe.
I'll be in with, I'm on 2 to 6. I don't even know who's in or out anymore. But I am in on the Cadbury cream egg.